institutions. The other statement that will be coming from the Senator for Nairobi will be directed to the Standing Committee on Matters Land in regards to the current status of Karura Forest. Senator Hezena Lemaletian will be seeking a statement from the Standing Committee on Education regarding the electrification of Sere Olipi in Samburu East constituency. The Senator for Busia has a number of statements, but just to give you some of the statements that he is set to seek this afternoon, one of them is a statement that he'll be seeking from the Standing Committee on Matters Health regarding the plight of nursing interns whose internship placements were unlawfully revoked. Among the four statements, the other one will be directed to the Standing Committee on Education regarding the plight of contractual teachers serving in the northern eastern Kenya. Let's now move to Standing Orders 56, subsection 1. The quorum has been achieved.
You may call the first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Order, honorable senators. Proceed, clerk.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
The Senate Majority Leader.
Following papers on the table of the Senate. Today, Wednesday, the 24th of September, 2025. This is a report of the PPRA, Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, concerning performance of the special groups, youth, women, and PWDs under the 30% preference and reservation scheme for January to June 2025 reporting period. 2, the annual report of the Commission on Administrative Justice, CAJ, for the financial year 2023-2024. Report of the COB, Control of Budget, on the National Government Budget Implementation Review for financial year 2024-2025. 4, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the Uasin Gishu County Education Revolving Fund for the year ended 30th June 2025. 5, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Uasin Gishu County Bursary and Skills Development Support Fund for the year ended 30th June 2025. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget. Or any member.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today 24th of September 2025, being the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the county government's equitable share cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2025-2026. Thank you.
The Chairperson, Select Committee on Delegated Legislation.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to give a notice of the following motion. That the Senate adopt the report of the Select Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of its affordable housing regulations, legal notice number 114 of 2025.
Senator Gataya, proceed to lay the paper first.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wish to lay the paper on Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, 24th September 2025. A report on the Committee on Delegated Legislation on the consideration of the affordable housing regulations 2025, legal notice number 114 of 2025. Thank you.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to give notice of the following motion. The motion is on the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the county government's cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2025-2026, that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the county government's equitable share cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2025-2026, laid on the table of the Senate on Wednesday, 24th, 2025, September, and that pursuant to Section 17, subsection 7 of the Public Finance Management Act and the Standing Order number 189/3, the Senate approves the county government's equitable share cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2025-2026. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Chairperson, Select Committee on Delegated Legislation.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to give a notice of the following motion. That the Senate adopt the report of the Select Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the affordable housing regulations, legal notice number 114 of 2025, arraigned on the table of the Senate on Wednesday, 24th September 2025, and that pursuant to Section 59(4) of the Affordable Housing Act 2024, the Senate resolves to approve the affordable housing regulations, legal notice number 114 of 2025. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Veronica Maina. Okay, that business is deferred. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Statements pursuant to Standing Order 53-1. The Senator for Embu County, Honorable Alexander Mundigi.
Request for statement on the closure of the help loans application system. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise person to Standing Order 53-1 to check a statement from the Standing Committee on Education on a matter of national concern regarding the untimely closure of the higher education loans board help loans application system. In the statement, the committee should address the following issues. Reason for the closure of the Higher Education Loans Board help loans application system at a time when many system students and just acquired their national identification ID cards, thereby locking out a significant number of eligible applicants. 2, whether the Ministry of Education could consider reopening the system for a further 14 days to avail to the students who were left out an opportunity to apply for loans. Strengthen to ensure just critical system is continuous training measures the ministry intend to put in place to ensure predictability, accessibility, and fairness to all students. Senator for Embu County, Dr. Alexander Munyimondigi.
Senator for Nairobi City County, the Honorable Edwin Sifuna.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I have two statements. With your kind permission, I would request that I take both of them at once. The first one, Honorable Speaker, is on the increase in TVET fees. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Education on a matter of national concern regarding the steep increase in fees paid to technical and vocational education and training institutions. Mr. Speaker, sir, while the government has indicated a willingness to scale back on fees paid by university students, the opposite has occurred in technical and vocational education and training institutions. On average, fees have sharply increased from Kenya shillings 67,000 per year to Kenya shillings 35,000 per module, translating to approximately Kenya shillings 105,000 every year. As a vital source of middle-level technicians and experts, TVET institutions play a critical role in the labor market. Pricing out students from these institutions risks severely undermining this important sector and, by extension, the country's workforce development. In the statement, therefore, the committee should address the following. Number one, the justification for the sharp increase in TVET fees at a time when economic pressures have necessitated a reduction in university fees. Secondly, the reasons for the delays in disbursement of TVET Higher Education Loans Board loans in contrast to the timely release of loans to their university counterparts. Thirdly, Honorable Speaker, the safeguards that the ministry has put in place to protect needy students from the burden of the sudden increase in TVET fees. The second statement, Honorable Speaker, is on the status of Karura Forest. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources on a matter of national concern regarding the current status of Karura Forest. Mr. Speaker, Karura Forest is one of the few remaining urban forests in the country and the continent. It serves as one of the vital lungs of this great city, Speaker, we need an updated map of Karura Forest indicating the exact area under vegetation and areas that have been cleared, detailing the circumstances under which such sections of the forests were cleared. Secondly, details of the income and expenditure relating to the joint account managed by the Kenya Forest Service and the Friends of Karura Forest, with a view to ascertaining the benefits accrued in management of the forest through this partnership. Thirdly, the sustainability of the Community Forest Association model in forest management, including whether the agreement between KFS and the Friends of Karura Forest will continue to be honored in the management of Karura Forest. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, the measures in place to safeguard the forest or any sections of it from encroachment or illegal acquisition by private developers. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator for Tharaka Nithi County, the Honorable Mwenda Gatayo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, environment and natural resources on a matter of nationwide concern regarding the improper waste disposal practices in this country. Mr. Speaker, sir, improper wastage disposal means a major environmental and public health challenges across both urban and rural areas. In many cases, waste is dumped in uncontrolled sites and open spaces. This practice poses significant health risk, environmental degradation, and undermines the country's effort to achieve the sustainable development goals. In this regard, Honorable Speaker, the committee should address the following. The budgetary allocation per county for the financial year 2024-2026 towards waste management and infrastructure and practice in both urban and rural areas. The mechanism in place to ensure effective enforcement of waste management as provided for in the Environmental Management and Coordination Waste Management Regulations, Legal Notice number 121 of 2006, whether there are some existing or planned county programs aimed at promoting public education and the policy awareness on the proper waste disposal. The committee should also try to look at the measures being taken to ensure that waste management infrastructure is adequate, efficient, and accessible to all communities. The committee should also look at whether there are collaborations or partnership with other stakeholders, including international agencies, the private sector, and civil society organizations to support waste management initiatives. On our second statement, Honorable Speaker, this is on the construction of a stadium in Tharaka Nithi County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek assessment for the Standing Committee on Labor and the Social Welfare on a matter of county-wide concern regarding the construction of a stadium in Tharaka constituency, Tharaka Nithi County. Mr. Speaker, sir, stadia are essential for community developments as they nurture local talent, provide recreational and professional opportunities, boost economic activity, and foster unity and a sense of pride. In the Tharaka County, however, the Tharaka constituency remains the only without a stadium. Unlike Chuka, Mangombe, which with the Kirobia, and the Mara with the Kaironi Stadium, residents here must rely on school playgrounds for training and the competitions. This has resulted in limited talent development, denying the community opportunities to host national, regional events and constrain both social and economic growth. In the statement, Honorable Speaker, the committee should look at whether there are plans to construct a stadium in the constituency, and if so, the projected timeline for its completion. The committee should also provide the budgetary allocation and the funding strategies, if any, that have been earmarked for construction of the proposed stadium and how this aligns with the ministry's broader strategy for sports development and community infrastructure. The interim measures being undertaken to address the sporting and recreation needs of the youth and the community in the Tharaka constituency, whether there are plans to engage or collaborate with the private sector partners in the construction and development of the proposed stadium. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This is Senator Mwanta Gataya, CBS MP, Senator for Tharaka Nithi County, today, September 2025. Thank you.
Before I call the next senator, allow me to make this communication, Honorable Senators. Now, Honorable Senators, as you may recall, at the sitting of the Senate held on Tuesday, 5th of August 2025, the temporary Speaker, Senator Hilary Sigei, MP, communicated a message from the National Assembly on the passage by the National Assembly on the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill, National Assembly Bills number 21 of 2025. Thereafter, the temporary Speaker allowed honorable senators to make comments on the message. While contributing to the message, the Senator for Kakamega County, Senator Dr. Boni Halwale, MP, made comments in reference to the speakers of the House of Parliament. Specifically, Senator Dr. Boni Halwale, MP, stated as follows: unless the Speaker of the Senate has either abdicated his responsibility, he is in connivance, or he has decided to learn the bad manners of the Speaker of the National Assembly, who has reduced himself to an agent of the United Democratic Party, UDA, running around. This prompted the Senator for Bungoma County, Senator Wafula Waholi, MP to rise on a point of order pursuant to Standing Order 105 to require Senator Dr. Boni Halwale MP to substantiate the statement pursuant to Standing Order 105.1. Honorable Senator, Standing Order 105 states as follows: a senator shall be responsible for the accuracy of any facts that the Senate alleges to be true and may be required to substantiate any facts instantly. Further, Standing Order 105.2 states as follows: if a senator has sufficient reason to convince the Speaker that the senator is unable to substantiate the allegations instantly, the Speaker shall require that such senator substantiate the allegations not later than the next sitting day, failure to which the senator shall be deemed to be disorderly within the meaning of Standing Order 121, unless the senator withdraws the allegations and gives a suitable apology. At the sitting of the Senate held on Tuesday, 5th of August 2025, Senator Dr. Boni Halwale MP was not able to substantiate his statement as required under Standing Order 101 or 105.1. The senator consequently sought the indulgence of the temporary Speaker for more time to provide the evidence at the next sitting day in accordance with Standing Order 105.2. Having acceded to the request, the temporary Speaker, Senator Hilary Sigei MP, directed that the senator substantiate the allegations at the next sitting day. Honorable Senators recall that at the subsequent sitting held on Wednesday, 6th of August 2025, the Deputy Speaker invited Senator Halwale MP to table the evidence in support of his claim made on Tuesday, 5th of August 2025, pursuant to Standing Order 105.2. Thereupon, Senator Halwale MP proceeded to table a flash disk drive containing 3 video clips as evidence to substantiate his claim. Following the tabling of the evidence by Senator Dr. Halwale MP, the Deputy Speaker undertook to review the matter and give a ruling at a later date, as it was not possible to do so then. Now, Honorable Senators, ordinarily, the obligation on the Speaker in such matter is to review the evidence tabled, determine the admissibility, establish whether indeed it verifies the claims made, and finally, to rule on whether, accordingly, the threshold under Standing Order 105 has been met. However, after going through the Hansard for Tuesday, 5th of August, 2 fundamental issues arise that require my determination in this instance. First was Senator Dr. Boni Halwale's statement in order within the context of the debate at hand. Second was the point of order by Senator David Wafula MP for substantiation valid. Now, Honorable Senators, with respect to the first issue, whether the comments by Senator Dr. Halwale were in order, I draw your attention to Standing Order 101, with particular reference to Standing Order 114, which states as follows: no senator shall impute improper motive to any other senator or to a member of the National Assembly, except upon a specific substantive motion, of which at least 3 days' notice has been given, calling in question the conduct of that senator or member of the National Assembly. In jurisdictions similar to that of the Parliament of Kenya, imputing improper motive on a member of Parliament refers to accusing a fellow member of acting out of malice, influence from others, bribery, or for personal gain, or through corrupt practices. Such accusations require that a specific substantive motion against such a member to be moved for the matters to be properly addressed. Standing Order 114, therefore, is a safe mode measure that ensures that members do not make baseless and reckless accusations against their colleagues, and that serious allegations on the conduct of members are properly addressed. Now, Honorable Senators, during his speech, Dr. Boni Halwale MP made comments that imputed improper motive on the Speaker of the Senate and the Speaker of the National Assembly. This inference on the conduct of the speakers cannot be unnoticed, cannot go unnoticed. Honorable Senators will note that on several occasions I have ruled senators to be out of order if their comments impute improper motive on their colleagues without a substantive motion. If Senator Dr. Boni Halwale MP wanted to discuss the conduct of the speakers, he ought to have filed a substantive motion giving the requisite notice as required under standing orders. In this respect, therefore, I find the comments by Senator Dr. Boni Halwale imputing improper motive on the conduct of the Speaker of the Senate and the Speaker of the National Assembly to be out of order for offending Standing Order 101. Honorable Senators, the second issue then that require my determination is whether the point of order by Senator David Wafula MP pursuant to Standing Order 105 to be valid in the context of the debate. Senator Dr. Halwale MP was given an opportunity to table the evidence in support of his claims at the subsequent sitting on Wednesday, 6th of August 2025. However, as highlighted above, his comments ought to have been introduced through a substantive motion. Furthermore, in the context of the debate at hand, the point of order pursuant to Standing Order 105 was a misapplication of the standing orders and the rules of debate. The appropriate point of order under the circumstances ought to have been made pursuant to Standing Order 101, bringing to the attention of the Speaker that Standing Order 101.4 was being breached, and to require Senator Dr. Halwale to file a substantive motion should the Senator wish to bring to question the conduct of the Speakers of the Houses of Parliament. In the circumstances, I find that the point of order by Senator David Wafula MP calling for substantiation of facts from Senator Dr. Halwale MP to be null and void. Consequently, while the evidence tabled by Senator Dr. Halwale was entered into record of the Senate, I find it inadmissible. Going into particulars of evidence without a substantive motion will be a breach of the standing orders. In this respect, I direct that the Office of the Clerk of the Senate returns the material to the Senate. Honorable Senators, as your Speaker, I'm duty-bound to impartially enforce the standing orders. I wish to reiterate that any senator wishing to raise a point of order must observe the requirement of Standing Order number 98. To do so effectively, it is incumbent upon all honorable senators to familiarize themselves with the provisions of the standing orders to avoid misapplication or raising inappropriate points of order. Finally, given the totality of the circumstances that necessitated this communication, I rule that the comments by Senator Dr. Boni Halwale imputing improper motive on the conduct of the Speaker Finally, given the totality of the circumstances that necessitated this communication, I rule that the comments by Senator Dr. Boni Halwale MP imputing improper motive on the conduct of the Speaker of the Senate and the Speaker of the National Assembly to be out of order. I therefore direct that the offending comments by the said Senator be expunged from the record forthwith. It is so guided. Thank you. Senator Hezena. Yes, Senator Enoch.
Speaker, have you seen Senator Karen Nyamo and the way she is dressed today, walking into the house with one side of the jacket worn and the rest hanging loose? Mr. Speaker, you know, this house, we can forgive, there is no problem. But Mr. Speaker, you must enforce rules in this house. Next time I'll walk in, Mr. Speaker, with my jacket hanging on my shoulder, and I will demand that you take precedent of what has happened, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Karen Nyamo, you are out of order for violating the Speaker's rules. You cannot walk into the chamber. Order, Senator Funandi. I'm the one delivering the ruling. In fact, you're guilty as charged. You're the one holding her hands as you're walking in the chamber. Senator Karen Nyamo, I will give you a warning for today. You repeat the same thing, I will have to ask you to leave the chamber. Let us observe the Speaker's rules. Senator Hezena. Yes, Senator for Nairobi City County.
Mr. Speaker, I wanted to make a polite request that perhaps we might need, as members of this House, some guidance on admissibility of evidence. Because I believe this is the second time that a member has attempted to substantiate, but the Speaker has found that that material was not admissible. I myself have fallen victim of that same rule. So I think going forward, so that we don't get into this back and forth about admissibility. I know some of us were students of evidence. Unfortunately, my teacher for the law of evidence was shot in cold blood here in Nairobi. But the late Chia Lombobo taught me the law of evidence. So just for the benefit of some of us, if I am confused, Honorable Speaker, and I am a lawyer, I'm sure farmers like the Honorable Wakwabobi might be struggling just as much as I'm struggling. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Order, Senator for Nairobi City County. If you don't understand and don't appreciate the standing orders, the Honorable Senator that you've just referred to has a firm grip on the standing orders. Her knowledge on the standing orders is unparalleled. That I can confirm. However, Honorable Senator for Nairobi City County, I have distinguished two things in this ruling. That this matter ought not to have gone to the extent of even demanding Senator Boni Halwale to table or to substantiate. The point of order that ought to have been raised is actually the fact that he ought to have brought a substantive motion. And because he never brought a substantive motion, then to that extent he was out of order. And then the matter ought to have rested there. Senator Hezana?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I rise to request a statement on the electrification of Stereolipi in Samburu East, Samburu County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Energy on a matter of county-wide concern regarding the electrification of Stereolipi in Samburu East constituency, Samburu County. Mr. Speaker, sir, the residents of Stereolipi have raised concerns and made public appeals regarding the lack of electricity connection in their area. While electrification has already reached Lerata, the neighboring community of Stereolipi remains unconnected, leaving schools, health facilities, businesses, and households at a significant disadvantage. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1. The reasons why Stereolipi has not been connected to the electric power grid despite electrification reaching Lerata. Secondly, the specific timelines within which the Ministry of Energy and the Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation, which is REREC, plan to extend electricity connection to Stereolipi. Third, the measures being undertaken to ensure equitable access to electricity across the marginalized areas in Samburu East constituency and Samburu County in general. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator for Kisumu County, the Honorable Professor Tom Ojenda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to seek a statement, three statements. Number one is on the fire disaster preparedness in informal settlements in Kisumu County. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations on the matter of county-wide concern regarding the status of fire disaster preparedness and response mechanism in informal settlements in Kisumu County. Mr. Speaker, recent fire outbreaks in informal settlements across Kisumu County have caused tragic loss of life, destruction of property, and displacement of families. These settlements, Mr. Speaker, which are densely populated and characterized by unregulated housing, narrow access routes, and informal electricity connections, remain highly vulnerable to fire disasters. The recurring nature of these incidents, Mr. Speaker, underscores the urgent need for strengthened preparedness prevention and response mechanism. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, the committee should address the following. One, the number of fire incidents reported in formal settlements in Kisumu County from 2022 to date and the emergency response measures that are taken in each case. Two, the county government's existing fire preparedness and response framework for informal settlements, including the number of functional fire engines, staffing levels, and availability of fire hydrants. Three, whether the county government of Kisumu has identified and mapped high-risk fire zones and the fire prevention sensitization programs or zoning enforcement measures, if any, that are in place. Four, whether the county government has engaged in partnership with the national government, humanitarian actors, or the private sector to strengthen fire disaster response capacity. And lastly, the status of integrating informal settlements into broader urban planning, safety, and disaster management strategies for the county in line with the requirements of the Urban Areas and Cities Act. Mr. Speaker, my second statement is on grounded motor vehicles and machineries in the county government of Kisumu. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the matter of county-wide concern regarding the considerable number of defective and unserviceable motor vehicles and machinery left grounded in parking yards for extended periods of time by the county government of Kisumu. Mr. Speaker, a review of the Kisumu County Executive fleet shows that numerous defective and unserviceable vehicles and machinery have remained grounded in parking yards for long periods without disposal, contrary to the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015 and its regulations. The county government has also failed to establish a disposal committee or prepare an annual disposal plan for unserviceable, surplus, or obsolete assets. In the statement, the committee should address the following. One, the reasons why defective and unserviceable motor vehicles and machinery have remained grounded in the county executive's parking yards for prolonged periods without being disposed of in accordance with Public Procurement and Disposal Act 2015. Two, the measure the county government of Kisumu has taken to establish a disposal committee as prescribed under the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015. Three, the reason for the county government's failure to prepare an annual disposal plan for unserviceable, obsolete, or surplus vehicles and machinery as required by Regulation 176.1 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Regulations 2020. And lastly, the timeline for the disposal of the grounded vehicles and machinery and the measures to be put in place to prevent a recurrence of such inefficiencies in the future. My last statement, Mr. Speaker, is on the quality and safety of animal feeds sold in Kisumu County. This is the last one. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries on a matter of county-wide concern regarding the quality and safety of animal feed sold in Kisumu County. Livestock mortality and reduced productivity have become a significant problem in Kisumu County that has been attributed to the use of counterfeit, contaminated, and substandard feeds. This threatens the livelihood of farmers and the food security of the county. In the statement, the committee should address the following. One, the number of licensed animal feed distributors and agro-waste outlets operating in Kisumu County, and the specific dates and findings of routine inspections conducted in financial years 2023 to 2025. Two, whether the county government has any laboratory testing capacity or partnership with national agencies such as CALRO or the Veterinary Services Directorate to detect and monitor feed quality, including the presence of contaminants like aflatoxin within the local market. Three, the specific actions taken by the county government, the Kenya Bureau of Standards, KEBS, or Veterinary Directorate against suppliers found selling counterfeit, contaminated, or substandard feeds within Kisumu County, including the number of prosecutions and licenses revoked. Four, the measures put in place to sensitize livestock farmers in the identification of risks and associated with unsafe and regulated feeds, and the mechanisms through which farmers can report suspected cases. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, the actions being taken, including regulatory, administrative, or legislative interventions within Kisumu County, to implement and ensure full protection of farmers and livestock-dependent households against ongoing threat of feed-related contamination and financial loss. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator from Busia County, Senator Omtata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I have 4 statements. I request to read all of them together. My first statement is on the plight of contractual teachers serving in northeastern Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53 Clause 1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Education on a matter of nationwide concern regarding the plight of young contractual teachers serving in northeastern Kenya and the challenges they face in their quest for absorption into permanent and pensionable PNP employment under the Teacher Service Commission, the TSC. Mr. Speaker, sir, young contractual teachers deployed in northeastern Kenya despite sustaining education in this hardship region continue to face grave injustices, including a lack of formal contracts, job insecurity, unequal pay, poor working conditions, delayed salaries, and career stagnation. Many have served diligently for years without appointment letters, are excluded from allowances and trainings, work under insecure conditions without adequate support, and suffer mental and emotional strain. The Teacher Service Commission has failed to formally recognize their existence, despite records confirming there are more than 300 contractual teachers deployed in the northeastern and coast regions. These practices breach the Employment Act, the Teacher Service Commission Act, and the Constitution of Kenya, thereby undermining their right to fair labor practices, equality, dignity as provided for under Articles 27 and 41 of the Constitution. In the statement, the committee should address the following: the reasons behind failure by the Teacher Service Commission to issue written contracts to contractual teachers as required under the Employment Act 2007. 2, the measures in place by the Teacher Service Commission to guarantee equality in pay, allowances, training opportunities, and career progression between contractual and permanent teachers performing similar work. 3, the steps taken by the Ministry of Education to ensure that contractual teachers deployed in hardship areas are provided with adequate security, logistical support, and psychosocial services. 4, timelines within which the TSC intends to develop and implement a clear, transparent, and consistent policy for absorbing contractual teachers into permanent and pensionable terms of service. 5, the accountability measures to be taken against the Teacher Service Commission leadership for denying the existence of contractual teachers despite the existence of evidence of their deployment. Senator Omtato Koiti, MP, Senator from Busia. My second statement is on the plight of the staff engaged through the Global Fund to support the tuberculosis TB program. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53 Clause 1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health on a matter of nationwide concern regarding the plight of the staff under the Ministry of Health who are engaged through the Global Fund to support the tuberculosis program. Mr. Speaker, sir, in 2009, the Ministry of Health, with support from the Global Fund, engaged Human Resource for Health, brackets, HRH officers, mainly medical laboratory technologists and clinical officers, on annual contracts to strengthen Kenya's tuberculosis response, with a clear commitment that they would be absorbed into permanent and pensionable terms once donor support ended. However, despite repeated reminders, written commitments and directives from the Public Service Commission, the Ministry of Health has failed to honor this promise, leaving officers who have served diligently for more than 15 years unpaid for more than 13 months and excluded from the government payroll, even as their national government colleagues have been regularized. This neglect not only amounts to a grave injustice against dedicated health professionals, but also threatens the continuity of essential TB services that are a matter of urgent public health concern. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1, the concrete measures the Ministry of Health has undertaken to honor its commitment to absorb the global fund-supported TB program staff into permanent and pensionable terms of service as per the Public Service Commission directives. The reasons the Ministry of Health failed to implement its own directives of 2nd July 2025, requiring the inclusion of these officers on the government payroll, outlining the steps being taken by the Ministry to settle the accrued salary arrears owed to the affected officers, some of whom have gone without pay for more than 13 months. The budgetary provisions within the Ministry of Health and the National Treasury that guarantee the continued employment and remuneration of these officers from 1st July 2025 onwards. The government's overall policy and long-term framework for absorbing donor-supported health workers, not only in the TB program, but also in HIV, malaria, and other critical health initiatives to ensure sustainability, equity, and accountability in the health sector. Senator Omtato Koiti MP, Senator from Busia County. My third statement is on claims of corruption, abuse of office, and endangerment of public safety at Mbagathi County Referral Hospital. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53, Clause 1, to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding claims of corruption, abuse of office, and endangerment of public safety at the Mbagathi County Referral Hospital. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Mbagathi County Referral Hospital, established in 1956 and being regarded as a lifeline for the poor and vulnerable in Nairobi and beyond, is today plagued by gross mismanagement and systemic rot that gravely compromise patient care and staff safety. Allegations include the abuse of the medical bill waiver facility, where facilitation fees are extorted from indigent patients, intimidation and threats against staff and whistleblowers, some of whom have died under mysterious circumstances, and the illegal collection of parking fees, whose revenues are reportedly diverted for personal gain. These malpractices not only exploit vulnerable patients and instill fear among staff, but also amount to the misappropriation of public resources in violation of the Constitution, the Public Finance Management Act, and the Leadership and Integrity Act. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1, alleged abuse of the medical bill waiver facility at the Mbagathi County Referral Hospital, including the involvement of the hospital staff management in the said malpractice. 2, the veracity of allegations of threats and intimidation against staff and patients and their families and indicates the measures in place to guarantee the safety and protection of whistleblowers. 3, an audit of collection of parking fees at the said hospital, determining whether the process was followed, whether due process was followed in the introduction of the charges, and clarify how the funds collected are utilized. 4, the mechanisms the Ministry of Health has put in place to monitor and ensure the proper administration of the medical bill waiver facility in public hospitals across the country. Whether the ministry conducts regular audits and inspections of public hospitals, specifying when the Mbagathi County Referral Hospital was last audited and inspected. My final statement is on the plight of nursing interns whose internship placements were unlawfully revoked. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53, Clause 1, to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health on a matter of nationwide concern regarding the plight of 306 nursing officer interns whose internship placements were unlawfully revoked by the ministry. Mr. Speaker, sir, on 30th June 2025, the Cabinet Secretary for Health, the Honorable Aden Duale, posted over 6,000 medical interns, including 2,098 nurses, who reported their stations. A month later, he abruptly revoked the placement of 306 interns, citing failure to attend graduation ceremonies, which is a new discriminatory requirement that contradicts established practices where university completion letters surface. Internship is a statutory requirement, and the 306 interns had already been verified by their universities, the Nursing Council of Kenya, and the Ministry of Health. Yet their placements were cancelled without prior notice, explanation, or hearing, thereby raising concerns of non-compliance with constitutional provisions on fair administrative action as provided for in Article 47 and 232, as well as the Fair Administrative Action Act of 2015, and the right to education. The decision has tendered them jobless, denied them the opportunity to obtain practicing licenses, and further strained hospitals already facing staff shortages. In the statement, the committee should address the following: the legal or policy framework that informed the revocation of internship placements for the 306 nursing officer interns, and the basis for introducing graduation attendance as a new eligibility requirement. Whether the Ministry of Health consulted the Nursing Council of Kenya, universities, or other stakeholders before making the decision, and indicate the legal requirement for internship under the Nursing Council of Kenya Act. Whether the said interns had successfully completed their degree requirements and were issued with Senate-approved compliance letters, as well as the support being provided by universities to their graduates affected by the revocation. 4, measures being taken to reinstate the affected interns to protect their constitutional rights, and whether the Ministry of Health will compensate them for the professional harm suffered due to the revocation. Omtato Koiti MP, Senator from Busia. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Statements pursuant to Standing Order 56-1B. The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Energy. Yes, on energy.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56-1B to make a statement on the activities of the Standing Committee on Energy for the third quarter of the fourth session, covering the period commencing 1st May to 31st August 2025. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under review, the committee held a total of 23 sittings. Attached to this statement is a schedule of the legislative business considered by the committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under review, the committee considered and concluded 5 statements, and 7 statements are pending consideration by the committee. Responses on the pending statements have been forwarded to the relevant senators and are awaiting consideration by the committee. The committee has initiated a bill, the Energy Amendment Bill 2023, Senate Bill number 11, to amend the Energy Act 2019 to delete Section 223, which prohibits public entities, including county governments, from imposing levies on public energy infrastructure without approval by the Cabinet Secretary. Mr. Speaker, so number 5, the committee has initiated an inquiry into the oil spill at Thange ward following reports of increased cases of diabetes, liver and kidney diseases among residents after the 2015 spill from a Kenya pipeline company pipeline. It resolved to form multi-agency task force to investigate and report within 30 days. The committee also directed the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Health, to issue a statutory notice to KPC under Section 118 of the Public Health Act, requiring compliance with health regulations and addressing non-compliance, including withholding financial resources. Mr. Speaker, sir, on an inquiry regarding the handing over of a mass cooking gas handling facility to Ashrami Energy, the committee is reviewing the Ministry of Energy and Pipelines legal compliance and seeks clarification on specific legal provisions used. It will meet with the National Treasury to confirm if all public-private partnership requirements were met. Mr. Speaker, sir, during a county visit to Mombasa, the committee engaged with the Kenya Maritime Authority on maritime oil pollution risks from tanker ships, inspecting oil routes and the port. The committee noted 500 tank trips annually, transporting 500 million tons of oil. The committee urged stronger environmental management enforcement and coordination to prevent and respond to pollution. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee conducted a county visit to Kisumu. The committee met energy stakeholders and toured oil and power facilities, finding 68% electricity connectivity with gaps in informal settlements and underfunded last-mile projects. high street lighting costs and slow solar conversions due to budget limits were noted, along with delays in devolving petroleum station licensing and security concerns on Nkrumah Road near Kenya Pipeline Depot. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee held a meeting with the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Energy and Petroleum to address critical energy policy and project challenges raised by counties and the private sector. Key issues included street lighting arrears, delayed energy subsidies, public-private partnership risks, nuclear feasibility, nuclear energy feasibility, and flagship projects like South Lokichar. The committee also discussed concerns over Kenya Pipeline partial privatization and potential Ruby's acquisition of National Oil Corporation of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the previous session, the committee concluded an inquiry into the supply and delivery of smart meters. This inquiry seeks to promote local production of smart meters, amend the duration of framework agreements, and ensure smart meters are integrated into the electricity installations. These measures aim to reduce electricity costs, decrease KPLC's monopoly, and improve efficiency in the sector. The committee adopted its report on 26 March 2025. Mr. Speaker, the committee visited Wajir to assess the local energy challenges and found it disconnected from the national grid, relying on local power generation. This has increased energy insecurity and hindered economic growth. Mr. Speaker, sir, can I put on my glasses? Yes. Let me see if it can help. This has increased energy insecurity and hindered economic growth. The committee recommends to the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum to prioritize off-grid marginalized counties like Wajir in future power transmission projects to ensure equitable electricity access. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the coming quarter, the committee will conclude on its inquiry into the 2015 Kenya Pipeline Company oil spill into Rigathigachagua and the inquiry into the transfer of gas mass handling facility at to Ashrami Energies under a 31-year lease agreement. The committee will meet the Ministry of Energy to review plans for distributing LPG cylinders and accessories to 9.6 million low-income households and public facilities, noting missed targets in 2023-2024, especially in informal settlements and public schools. 14, the committee is planning a county visit to Siaya to assess the proposed nuclear energy plant site, part of Kenya's pursuit of nuclear power as a suitable long-term energy source following earlier feasibility studies in Kilifi. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to thank your office for the support accorded to the committee in undertaking its work. I also wish to acknowledge the Secretariat support that the committee has received from the Office of the Clerk. Lastly, I wish to commend the members of the committee for their commitment, diligence, and dedication to work and mandate of the committee. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget. Honorable Senator for Mombasa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand in for my chair, Senator Roba, who has a problem with his vocals. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 56(1)B to make a statement relating to the activities of the Standing Committee on Finance Budget for the first quarter of the fourth session, covering the period April to August 2025. During the period under review, the committee held 30 sittings, during which it processed and concluded 31 statements, considered 5 key bills, 4 of which allocate funds to counties to ensure efficient service delivery by devolved units, and tabled 6 reports. Attached to the statement is a schedule of the legislative business considered by the committee and their status. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under review, the committee processed and tabled reports on the Division of Revenue Bill 2025, National Assembly Bills number 10 of 2025, County Allocation of Revenue Bill, CARA 2025, Senate Bill number 9 of 2025, Equalization Fund Appropriation 2025, Senate Bill number 7, Bills number 7 of 2025, County Government's Additional Allocation number 2 Bill 2025, Senate Bills number 8 of 2025, and County Wards Equitable Development Bill 2024, Senate Bills number 20 of 2024. Mr. Speaker, sir, further, the committee held joint sittings with the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning to undertake the approval hearing of Mr. Pius Angasa for appointment as a member of the board of the Central Bank of Kenya, which report was approved by this House. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee held a meeting with the Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury and Economic Planning. During this meeting, matters on public debt were discussed, including total public debt, the external debt, domestic debt, and sustainable strategies put in place to reduce the high cost of living in the country. The Cabinet Secretary submitted that as at 30th of June 2025, the stock of public debt was Kenya shillings 11.81 trillion, translating to 67% of the GDP. That the public debt comprises of 6.33 trillion domestic debt and 5.49 trillion external debt. The external debt comprised of 3.05 trillion multilateral debt, 1.11 trillion bilateral debt. China accounts for 0.0653 trillion, that is 59% of the external debt, and of the bilateral debt, and 1.32 trillion commercial debt. Domestic debt comprised of Kenya shillings 5.11 trillion treasury bonds, that is 80%, and Kenya shillings 1.04 trillion treasury bills, and Kenya shillings 0.18 trillion overdraft from the central bank, IMF funds on lent to government and business and bank advances. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee sought public views on legislative business, including the bills and the appointment of nominee to the Central Bank of Kenya Board of Directors through advertisement in 2 national newspapers and other social media platforms. Mr. Speaker, sir, in processing the statements, the committee followed the newly agreed upon mechanism of presenting the senators with responses as soon as they are received from the relevant stakeholders. The senator is required to indicate any issues that require clarification within 14 days. Otherwise, the statement is deemed concluded. A list of statements processed by the committee is annexed to this statement. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the period under review, the committee undertook 2 county visits to Kitui County to deliberate on the status of pending bills in Kitui County, and to Kisii County to deliberate on the status of pending bills in Kisii County. Alleged alteration of the county executive budget by Kisii County government and the financial management in Kisii County government. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the review of bills, the committee noted significant duplication and repetition in a number of bills. such as A, the County Government Additional Allocation Bill, National Assembly Bills number 2 of 2025, with similar provisions as the County Government's Additional Allocation number 2, Bill 2025, Senate Bills number 8 of 2025. B, the County Government's Revenue Raising Process Bill, National Assembly Bills number 11 of 2023, and are similar to the County Government's Revenue Raising Process Bills, Senate Bills number 22 of 2023. This was a bill, I think, by the Majority Leader of the Senate. Number C, the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill 2025, National Assembly Bills number 21 of 2025. Similar to the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill number 2025, Senate Bills number 7 of 2025. Number D, the Public Finance Management Amendment number 3 Bill, National Assembly Bills number 44 of 2024, and are bills with similar provisions contained in the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 40 of 2023. This was a bill by Senator Hamida Kibwana, which has since stalled, Mr. Speaker, sir. E, the Public Finance Management Bill number 2, Amendment number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bills number 26 of 2024, which has similar provisions as contained in the Public Finance Amendment Bill 2024, Senate Bills number 27 of 2024. Number 12, the committee held a meeting with the Senate Majority Leader, and it was recommended that all amendments to the PFM Act be consolidated into one bill. The committee will submit a report on the PFM amendment bills recommending consolidation of the bills. The committee recommends that the leadership of the Senate and the National Assembly consider establishing a well-coordinated process between the two houses of Parliament to avoid duplication of bills. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the fourth quarter of this session, the committee is scheduled to process the county government's equitable share cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2025-2026, a notice of which was given yesterday. Number 2, the Public Finance Management Bills, Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 48 of 2024, the Public Audit Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 4 of 2024, and the Kenya National Council of Population and Development Bill, National Assembly Bills number 72 of 2023. The committee will also consider reports of the Control of Budget on the implementation of the government's budget, made to the various county executives to consider issues relating to pending bills in county governments, and finalize the consideration of the Senate resolution on level of the public debt in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to take this opportunity to thank the Office of the Speaker and the Clerk for the support they have given to the committee, and also to the committee members for their dedication in enabling this committee to undertake its work. Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you. Thank you.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Health and... Yes. Standing Committee on Health.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56(1)B to make a statement relating to the activities of the Standing Committee on Health for the second quarter of the fourth session, covering the period between April and September 2025. Honorable Speaker, during the period under review, the committee held 29 sittings, during which it considered 3 bills, 2 petitions, and 28 statements, held 6 county visits, and followed up on the implementation status of one of the Senate resolutions. In the reporting period, the committee considered stakeholder submissions for 3 bills and conducted considerations of 2 of the bills and tabled its report. During the same period, the committee considered 2 public petitions whose consideration is ongoing. Honorable Speaker, the committee also sought reports on the issues raised in statements and received 33 responses, which were submitted to the senators who had sought the statements. In instances where responses were found to be insufficient, the committee sought supplementary information from the concerned stakeholders. Honorable Speaker, further pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 2284 of the Senate Standing Orders, the committee sought a report from different stakeholders on the implementation status of the report on the petition of the management and use of Kenyatta University Teaching, Research and Referral Hospital by the medical students of Kenyatta University. Honorable Speaker, in the reporting period, the committee undertook 6 county visits, which were aimed at ascertaining information received within the precincts of Parliament. The specific objectives of the engagements, Honorable Speaker, are to visit select healthcare facilities in order to assess the state of the quality of infrastructure, facilities, hospital equipment, and provision of emergency services. 2, the availability of requisite healthcare personnel and the challenges these counties face in regard to healthcare workers. 3, the availability of drugs and medical supplies in healthcare facilities in the counties. And 4, obtain information on all social health authority reimbursement, facility accreditations, and pending bills in the Kenya Medical Supplies Agency, KEMSA. Mr. Speaker, the oversight visits revealed systemic deficiencies across key areas of default healthcare delivery, starting with chronic staff shortages of qualified personnel and specialists, which resulted in overworking, low morale due to poor contractual terms, and delayed stipends and the unauthorized use of unqualified staff. The committee observed that the infrastructure across healthcare facilities in the counties is often dilapidated, leading to overcrowding and sharing of beds, particularly in maternity wards. This is compounded by sanitation and hygiene deficiencies in crucial areas like maternity and the newborn units and female wards. The committee further observed that the healthcare service delivery is hampered by non-functional specialized medical equipment, including intensive care units, CT scans, and dialysis machines, due to lack of electricity connectivity, reagents, maintenance support, post-contract expiry, or lack of trained operators, alongside widespread shortages of essential drugs and supplies. Honorable Speaker, these deficiencies are exacerbated by the lax management controls reflected in the rampant discrepancies between the manual records and the physical stock, the improper storage and dumping of expired drugs in unsafe locations, stalled capital development projects, including mortuaries, and reliance on manual paper-based inventory and patient systems that hinder efficiency and accountability. Mr. Speaker, the main recommendation arising from the oversight visits are broadly focused on governance and finance, human resources, infrastructure and equipment, and supply chain management, arguing for expeditious and immediate actions from both levels of government. During the current quarter, the committee will undertake an inquiry on the status of implementation of the universal health coverage in the country. In this regard, the committee will seek reports on the implementation of UAC policies and the challenges, if any, facing the implementation of the said policies. Mr. Speaker, I wish to thank your office and that of the office of the Clerk of the Senate for the continuous support accorded to the committee in executing its mandate. I also wish to thank members of my committee for their diligence and contributions during these committee visits. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Now, honorable senators will take comments for not more than 15 minutes. Each senator speaking for less than, at maximum of 3 minutes. Senator Osots.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me support all the statements that have been raised by members, but I'll pick only 2. That is the statement by Senator Edwin Sifuna on the high fees that is being charged in our vocational training centers. Mr. Speaker, vocational training centers are very critical institution in this country. Is one way of managing the youth problem in this country, Mr. Speaker, so that those who cannot progress to higher levels of education are able to join these village institutions and to learn 1 or 2 skills so that they can be useful members of the society. But we are seeing a trend, Mr. Speaker, that these vocational training centers are now collapsing in many counties, Mr. Speaker, because of largely funding issue. You know, a few years back, we had an arrangement where the government, the national government, was supporting the vocational training through capitation, but they stopped that, and they left that to county governments. Most county governments are unable to fund this important institution, and it's sad that most of these institutions are being run down. Some have even closed, Mr. Speaker. So I think even when they talk about raising the fees, I think that is even going to make the situation worse, because most of the students who go to this institution are not able to pay. They are not able to pay that money. In fact, fees payment is one of the problems in this institution. So by charging higher fees, you are simply closing this institution, Mr. Speaker. The second statement by the Chair of Health, Senator Mandago, I think one of the good things I've seen the Committee of Health has done is to visit, make oversight visit to referral hospitals across the county, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I remember 1 year ago, Senator Mandago led his team to my county, and they unearthed a lot of issues, and they made a report which was adopted by this House. They made very good recommendation. I want to ask that committee to follow up on its recommendation to see that they are implemented. Because since you left, Senator Mandago, the hospital has reverted back to the bad manners that were there before you came. So I think your committee should have an implementation follow-up plan so that those good recommendations these hospitals are able to implement. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, for those few remarks, I support the statements by members.
Senator Mungatana.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to comment on the statement that was referred to the committee, the Standing Committee on Lands and Environment. Madam Speaker, as the Standing Committee looks at the issues raised in that statement, they must also look at what is happening in Tana River County. Madam Speaker, the capital of that county, Hola, it generates about 1,000 tons of garbage every day, according to the statistics. But Madam Speaker, there is no dumping site within the county headquarters. Madam Speaker, on your way to Kone, you have an open field where a lot of the waste is thrown there. There are no vehicles, Madam Speaker, that take officially the waste there. What is happening, Madam Speaker, is that people, they give freelance garbage collectors to pick garbage from their houses. You give them 50, you give them 20, depending on the amount of garbage, to put on a mkokoteni and take to that dumping site. Madam Speaker, the county does not bother even to burn that waste. They can stay even for a whole 3 months without setting fire to that place. Madam Speaker, remember it's within town. So, Madam Speaker, I want to ask the Land and Environment Committee to look at what is happening in Tana River County, Madam Speaker. When it rains, that place becomes horrible. Traders are suffering. They are paying revenues to the counties, but there is no service. The county government has developed the CIDP. They have developed laws, but nothing is being effected on the ground. Madam Speaker, can you imagine, with a budget on the Climate and Environment Department going as high as 340 million, there is nothing on the ground. And not to mention all the other towns, smaller towns and sub-counties. No dumping site, no proper disposal of waste, no plan, Madam Speaker. They just stock. The governor in that county, Madam Speaker, has totally neglected the right to environment, clean and healthy environment for our people. So, Madam Speaker, I am urging the committee to also...
Senator Wambua.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to comment on the statement made by Senator Tom Ojienda of Kisumu on the lack of a proper mechanism for the disposal of broken down motor vehicles and other movable assets in Kisumu County. Madam Speaker, I want to congratulate Senator Ojienda for bringing this statement, but hasten to her that, Madam Speaker, perhaps the Senator may need to do a motion so that this Senate can pass a resolution on how to deal with these broken down and grounded vehicles that are to be found in every parking yard of every county government headquarters and county offices. Madam Speaker, in fact, the matter has become so serious that in some counties, you will find there are more grounded vehicles than the ones that are serviceable. Now, it gets worse, Madam Speaker, that even those vehicles that are grounded and in parking yards, that have now become the breeding grounds for mosquitoes and other rodents, those vehicles are actually being insured by county governments. So you find a motor vehicle has broken down for 2-3 years, it's in the parking yard, but the county governments are still taking advantage, insurance covers for those vehicles. Others are even fueling those vehicles while they are still in the parking yards, having broken down 2 or 3 years ago. Madam Speaker, a motion will be important to deal with these matters. I say this, Madam Speaker, because in most cases, what happens is that you find a motor vehicle as just a battery that has gone flat or a tire that has burst. But it is parked in the parking yard waiting for money to be availed to buy a battery or replace a tire. 1 year down the line, that vehicle is still there. 2 years down the line, it is still there. Then it is vandalized. It becomes a breeding ground, Madam Speaker, for rodents. But the county governments still continue to take insurance covers and fuel those vehicles. Madam Speaker, this Senate must address itself that matter and pass a resolution on how to deal with these broken down vehicles and other movable assets in the county governments. Madam Speaker, I support.
Senator Cherarke.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mine is on the issue of Global Fund staff. Madam Speaker, I want to appeal because Global Fund staff and universal health coverage staff, Madam Speaker, there was a directive by the President that all UHC staff, including Global Fund staff that is approaching almost 10,000, must be observed in permanent and pensionable terms, Madam Speaker. Most of them have stayed under contract for the last 15 years, others since 2020 COVID era, Madam Speaker. It is important that the Ministry of Health and Council of Governors must come together and transit all UHC staff and Global Fund staff into permanent and pensionable. I'm aware in September salary, Madam Speaker, the SRC rates were applied. So it is important that they must be transited into permanent and pensionable so that they can plan their lives, Madam Speaker, and continue to serve our people the way they have done. Madam Speaker, finally, on the issue of motor vehicles, I agree that when you walk around our counties, and even both national and county governments, there are so many junkyards. Madam Speaker, in fact, in my county, my governor has become very innovative by leaving the broken down vehicles and doing a car hire of 42 million Kenyan shillings, Madam Speaker. Yet when you go to the car yard in Kapsabet, it's only a bolt, a tire burst, a battery gone flat, Madam Speaker. So he has decided, let me leave these vehicles who could be fixed and do a kaya hire of 42 million shillings, Madam Speaker, which was reflected on Office of the Auditor General report of 2023-2024, Madam Speaker. And even in terms of hospitals, I have seen the Bagati issue that has been brought by Senator Mutata, Madam Speaker. I would have expected the Chair of Health, unfortunately, has stepped out, that all county hospitals, including Bagati, including Kapsapet County Referral Hospital, Madam Speaker, all of them, Madam Speaker, the only thing they do is to receive bodies. They are doing nothing, Madam Speaker. If you go Kapsapet County Referral Hospital, there is no medical services. They just wait people to be pronounced dead, and they are doing nothing about it, Madam Speaker, just the way Bagati is, just the way many hospitals. So, Madam Speaker, I hope the Health Committee can take note and ensure that all in all, Madam Speaker, I support all the statements that have been brought by my esteemed colleagues. I support.
Senator Ledama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me begin by supporting the statement made by the good senator of Nairobi in regards to the status of Karura Forest. Madam Speaker, Karura Forest act as lungs. They act as lungs for Nairobi City County. We're in a county that has got a lot of industries, and if we are not careful, all that carbon dioxide, which is absorbed by Karura Forest, we in this house are the ones who are going to be absorbing that carbon dioxide. It is about time that we become intentional in defending our forests. There is this conflict between the Friends of Karura Forest and Kenya Forest Services. And that has all been brought about by a desire to collect so much money and to centralize all revenue collection in e-Citizen. I think there are certain areas we should not go. We should just let the Friends of Karura Forest manage it or find a better way of dealing with that issue, because Karura Forest act as lungs for this city. Madam Speaker, this forest also is home for endangered species. There is an African eagle bird or crown which resides in Karura Forest. If we now grab, and I'm not saying that it's been grabbed, and I'm happy that the court stopped an attempt to grab Karura Forest recently. I'm not saying, but this danger that Karura Forest is facing on a daily basis, we have to be alive to that fact that we leave that forest so that we can be able to survive. Karura Forest is a lab. It acts as a lab for endangered species. In fact, if I want some medicine as a Maasai that I cannot find anymore because our forests have all been destroyed, I'll go to Karura Forest and I'll get those traditional herbs. So let us protect our forest. Secondly, Madam Speaker, because I see the time is running up, this issue of dumping of vehicles, it is about time that we become realistic. Let us reduce taxation, allow people to import new cars, lower prices, because we don't have strict dumping laws. That is a problem. So if we're importing cars which are 8 years old, when they come here, they have been used, 8 years. Come on, we cannot be always playing second fiddle. It's about time that even us, we up our game, we drive new cars at affordable prices. Go to South Africa. The people who live in South Africa are driving new cars, low taxes, because it's not just about money, it's about our health. Now we are complaining about dumping of those vehicles. Soon, we'll be complaining also about dumping of batteries for the electric vehicles. That is the problem we are having. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Nyamo. Senator Majority Leader, what is the issue?
Apologies, Madam Speaker. I didn't mean to interrupt my colleague. But when the Speaker rose to guide on this issue of comments, he was very specific that it's 15 minutes. We've done now 18, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, there is business substantive that I want to hear about the cash disbursement schedule. It's a very important item to our counties, and it's been pending for a while on the order paper. So I want to kindly indulge you that if possible, stick to the timelines that had been guided so that we transact other substantive business.
Honorable Senators, in view of the fact that the time is out, I rule, and in view of the fact that there is other serious business, I wish to ask Senator Nyamu to indulge us and pass. Okay, Senator Nyamu. I'll give one. Let them just finish and then we'll move on.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wish to make comments on the statement brought by Senator Okeya Omtata on what is happening in the Mbagathi Hospital. Madam Speaker, Mbagathi Hospital is supposed to be a lifeline for the poor in Nairobi, but what is happening there is very shocking. The medical facility, the medical bills waiver facility is supposed to cushion and protect the vulnerable and the poor in our society. But now they are being extorted. You're asked to part with some money to facilitate accessing that facility. We are hearing of parking fees being diverted in the hospital. Madam Speaker, Article 43 is under attack in Mbagathi Hospital and in our public hospitals, Madam Speaker. And in this House, we must demand answers. It is not enough to tell us what is happening there. Who is doing it? Who is responsible? Where is this money going to? And we must protect the whistleblowers, the staff who are coming forward with this information. If we allow our hospitals to be grounds for corruption and fear of exposing this corruption, it is the poor who end up paying with their lives, Mr. Speaker. Mbagathi needs an overhaul so that it gets back to its old self and continue to serve the people of Nairobi with dignity, Madam Speaker. And with those few remarks.
Senator Sifuna.
Madam Speaker, I honestly disagree with the majority leader. I believe that every business that we transact is important. And whereas we might think that the disbursement schedule is important, nobody follows that thing after we pass it. Treasury never follows that schedule to disburse money to counties. So, in fact, these conversations that we're having this afternoon are more important than that disbursement schedule that nobody gives any regard to. Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to speak on the statement that was brought regarding Mbagathi Hospital, that in fact we have had challenges with our level 4 hospitals here in Nairobi. And yesterday when I was reeling off all the pending appearances by the county governor of Nairobi before committees, I spoke about park, education, devolution, all of which we have not been able to get or secure the attendance of a governor. In fact, the County Public Investments Committee that is led by Senator Osotsi had scheduled a meeting on the 17th of September to discuss the level 4 hospitals of Nairobi. And once again, our governor was not available for these conversations. And you can see that the issues are piling up. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, I wanted to just touch on something that was said during debate here yesterday by the Senator of Mombasa. I do not pick any governor for protection, Honorable Speaker. You, as a Speaker of this House, know that Sifuna wears many hats. You should distinguish for the things that I say when I'm speaking as SG of ODM at a rally. That doesn't mean that I am speaking about matters of oversight in Mombasa. I have never said that the governor of Mombasa should not be subjected to oversight. I was speaking at a public baraza in Mombasa in Jomvu. As SG of ODM, I was donned in colors of ODM from top to bottom. And I was saying that the people who are low down in the hierarchy of the party must respect the deputy party leader. That is not to say that I was protecting the governor of Mombasa from oversight. So, as the SG of ODM, I want to call the member of to order, my member from Mombasa who's a senator. That
Senator Cherargei, order. Please. Please. We will hear the senator in silence, please.
Honorable Speaker, people know I wear different crowns. I am a member of this House. I am a senator. I am a member of the Kenya Moja caucus. I am also an SG. I am a father. I am a husband. When I'm talking about my daughter, surely, you can't bring in issues of Senate and oversight. I can speak as a leader of the community that I come from. That doesn't mean that it is anything to do with oversight. So I want that those comments that were made by the Senator of Mombasa be expunged Otherwise, I will use my other powers, and he knows me, to summon him for disciplinary proceedings. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 8, motion. Implementation of an automated and decentralized certificate of good conduct system in Kenya.
Mover to reply. Just a moment. Honorable Senators, I put the question that aware that a certificate of good conduct is a major requirement for Kenyan citizens in accessing employment, business opportunities, and in some instances, financial engagements with financial institutions in Kenya, with the certificate having a validity or period of 1 year, concerned that many Kenyans are compelled to travel long distances to access this service, both for the initial application and for any subsequent applications, making the process tedious, time-consuming, and costly. Further concerned that the current manual application system is prone to delays and inconsistencies, which may compromise the authenticity and integrity of a certificate of good conduct. Cognizant that the importance of introducing an automated good conduct certificate system, including the utilization of biometric fingerprints verification through the deployment of biometric kits, will enhance accuracy, security, and expediency in verifying individual record. Now, therefore, the Senate resolved that the National Police Service Commission, in collaboration with the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, to 1, develop and implement an automated good conduct certification system designed to streamline the issuance, renewal, and verification of certificate of good conduct. 2, incorporate advanced technologies such as biometric fingerprint recognition, data encryption, and secure communication protocols to ensure the accuracy of individuals' records. 3, establish decentralized service points and deploys mobile registration units across counties to enhance accessibility, especially in remote areas. And 4, scale up public awareness initiatives in rural areas on the application and renewal process for the certificate of good conduct. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, motion. Report of the Parliament of Kenya delegation to the 2025 hearing of Interparliamentary Union, IPU, held at the United Nations, UN in New York, United States of America, USA, on 13th to 14th February 2025. Question to be put.
Honorable Senators, I put the question that the Senate notes the report of the Parliament of Kenya delegation to the 2025 hearing of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, held at the United Nations in New York, United States of America, USA, on 13th to 14th February 2025, laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 17th July 2025. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, motion. Report of the 67th Commonwealth Parliamentary Association CPA Conference held in Sydney, Australia on 3rd to 8th November 2024. Question to be put.
Honorable Senators, I put the question that the Senate notes the report of the 67th Commonwealth Parliamentary Association CPA conference held in Sydney, Australia on 3rd to 8th November 2024, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 22nd July 2025. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 11, motion. Report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the county government's cash disbursement schedule for financial year 2025-2026.
Chair Finance? Okay.
Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Before I move, I want to correct, I want to remind my brother, Senator Sifuna, that whatever is said in this House, and it cannot be a subject of any proceedings in any jurisdiction. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand in on behalf of our chair of the Finance Committee, who was in the House but has a problem with his vocals. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the following motion, that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the county government's equitable share cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2025-2026, laid on the table of the Senate on Wednesday, 24th of September 2025, and that pursuant to Section 17(7) of the Public Finance Management Act and Standing Order number 189.3, the Senate approves the equitable share cash disbursement schedule for the financial year 2025-2026. Madam Speaker, the cash disbursement schedule is prepared in fulfillment of the National Treasury's requirement to administer the consolidated fund in accordance with Article 206 of the Constitution. The Treasury is required to pay from the Exchequer account without undue delay all amounts that are payable for public services. Madam Speaker, Section 17(6) of the Public Finance Management Act, Chapter 4 and 2A, provides that the National Treasury shall, at the beginning of every month and not later than 15th day of the commencement of the month, disburse monies to county governments for the expenditure of the following month. It is from this legal provision that the disbursement schedule is presented to the House for approval. This schedule is usually prepared by the National Treasury in consultation with the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Forum, Economic Council, IBEC. Madam Speaker, the disbursement schedule was forwarded for approval to this House on 4th of September, and this was following the enactment of the County Allocation of Revenue Act, CARA, 2025, which was assented to on the 13th of August, 2025, and given commencement date of 2nd September, 2025. It is critical to note that the passage of the Division of Revenue and subsequently the County Allocation of Revenue Bill paves the way for the preparation of the disbursement schedules. Madam Speaker, the committee had critical consideration of the draft disbursement schedule as presented to the House. It is worth noting that allocation in the schedule is based on the amount of 415 billion shared among the 47 counties as contained in the County Allocation of Revenue Act 2025. This disbursement to each county is exclusively scheduled to be made on the 15th of each month, from the 15th of July 2025 to the 15th of June 2026. This means the amount spread across 12 months of the financial year 2025-2026. Madam Speaker, the month scheduled to have the highest disbursement is April 2026, with a disbursement of Kenya shillings 37.35 billion, representing about 9% of the total equitable share for the financial year 2025-2026 at 415 billion, and the lowest amount is in the monthly of July 2025 of a sum of 32.93 billion. Overall, there are no significant fluctuations from the Kenya shilling 34.58 billion monthly average if the schedule was to be based on equitable monthly installments. Madam Speaker, the committee noticed some sinister motives by the National Treasury towards an adherence to the approved disbursement schedule. National Treasury indicates that the monthly transfers as proposed in the schedule shall be based on the performance of the revenue raised by the national government. This is a clear escape route to continue the unusual underfunding of the counties within the required time of the year. The county equitable share is less than 15% of the overall national government revenues, hence negligible to be seriously affected by the monthly revenue shortfalls. The National Treasury should strictly apply the schedule as approved. Madam Speaker, in addition, we looked at the previous adherence to the approved schedules, and we noticed that disbursements have been made without due regard to the schedule. A case example is financial year 2024-25. A big chunk of the county's equitable share, approximately 42% of the total Kenya shillings relative 7.425 billion, was disbursed in the fourth quarter of the financial year. That is April, May, and June of the financial year 2024-2025. This backloading of cash disbursement to the fourth quarter runs the risk of slowing down county budget implementation, as the majority of the resources is received at the tail end of the financial year. This is against the spirit of Article 203(1)(j) of the Constitution, that requires revenue to counties to be stable and predictable. Madam Speaker, for the counties to implement the budget smoothly and offer the required services to the people, the cash flow predictability is very critical. I call upon the National Treasury to strictly adhere to the approved schedules to avoid distortions of programs at our counties. Madam Speaker, the committee further observed that non-adherence to the disbursement schedule is against constitutional requirement in Article 219 of the Constitution, where the county's share of revenue raised nationally shall be transferred without undue delay or deductions. I truly believe that this is a legal safeguard to devolution. Any attempt by the National Treasury to contravene this provision by circumventing the disbursement as provided in the schedule should be called out strongly. Madam Speaker, having said that, I wish to appreciate members of the Committee of Finance and Budget for their commitment and dedication to complete the task. I further appreciate the Office of the Speaker and the Office of the Clerk for facilitating the committee in executing this mandate. Madam Speaker, finally, I request that the Senators to agree with the committee's recommendation that the county government's equitable share cash disbursement scheduled for the financial year 2025-2026 laid on the table of the Senate on 23rd of September 2025 be approved. I thank you, Madam Speaker. And I will invite the Majority Whip, Senator Boni Khalwale, who is a senior member of the committee, to second this motion. Thank you.
Senator Khalwale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker, may I set the record straight? Yes. Because remarks by Senator Faki seem to have displeased some people about my seniority. May the record show that it is true I'm a senior member of the committee. In fact, I remember introducing the leader of the majority to this committee after he came through a by-election. I'm truly senior, and there's even a neighbor of mine who has grown 32 teeth, who is speaking. Madam Speaker, I rise to second this motion as moved, and because it is almost a residual motion, I would leave it to be limited to the remarks by the mover. However, there are a few comments I want to make. If you look at this cash disbursement schedule, there is mischief from the National Treasury. This House has decided that 415 billion shillings will be given to the devolved units. And now the minister in charge of National Treasury goes and sits in some dingy boardroom and they start playing poker with the 415. If you look at the schedule, they decide in January we shall give this much, in February we shall increase a little, in March we'll reduce it further. Who told them? Which law is Honorable John Mbadi using? The money that is supposed to go to counties should be 415, and this 415 should go on a monthly basis, and when it delays, it should not be undue delay. And in 2015, before the leader of the majority came to the House, we passed a law. No, I was saying you're a good man. And Justice Mutahi was there. We passed a law that this undue delay should not be abused. We said the delay can only be allowed up to the 15th of the month. Yes. So it is expected John Mbadi, Honorable, should deposit in the County Revenue Fund money due on or before 15th. Now, he circumvents it, Madam Speaker, and uses to abuse it. How I wish that we could amend this schedule. And it is not very difficult. We can actually amend it in just one statement. That the 415 billion shillings should be due every month in the following proportions. That every month a county be receiving what is due to it in amounts of 415 divided by 12. Period. Any other thing here should be treated as illegal and procedural. And then what's more, we insist that going forward, the minister will have a case to answer should they come to us with any other variation. The excuse that they are using in their report, Madam Speaker, that this money is released depending on the cash collections by the Kenya Revenue Authority cannot fly, because the amount of 15% of 415 is so little in a country of a 4 trillion economy. We should not punish the governors in any way whatsoever. We know some of them are crooks, Madam Speaker, and on another day I'm coming to come with the list of the top 10 crooks who call themselves governors. We even saw them, Madam Speaker, and I remember the role you played in Homa Bay. Some of them were making presentations showcasing the history of their county as a form of development. I looked at it and I said, is this Senator, Governor James Orengo, the one we sat with here, presenting the heroes born in Siaya as being a showcase of development of devolution? Really, Siaya deserves better for the billions we take there. And I hope that Senator Sifuna is around. Yes. Yes. I want to request you, Sifuna, that when you'll go, I'm requesting for when he goes to Siaya, he should abandon the bad manners that he showed in Mombasa of heaping praise to the governor unjustifiably and using the floor of this house to further it more, talking about
Senator,
some unknown...
Senator Sifuna has a point of order. What's your point of order, Senator Sifuna?
Relax, gala.
Honorable Speaker, just on a statement of fact pursuant to Standing Order 105, is it in order for Senator Khalwale to make a claim in this House that I went to Mombasa to heap praises on the governor of Mombasa, when, Honorable Speaker, I have taken the time this afternoon to explain to Honorable Khalwale that just as he is a husband of many, I also wear many crowns. I am sure he understands that the way he speaks to his first wife is not the same as what he tells his second wife. I am an SG. I am a senator and a member of this House. I have many crowns. when I am in a political rally that is being organized by my own political party, what Khalwale doesn't know is that the governor of Mombasa is my boss in the party. I don't know which party Khalwale belongs to these days, so he does not understand the hierarchy. So can he, Honorable Speaker, can he please substantiate? I have never been in the habit of heaping praises on fellow men. Honorable Speaker, you know I don't do it. I have a constitutional duty to oversight governors. There is no way I can abandon that duty and heap praises on people. Yeah, for women is allowed. I am a Bukusu man.
Senator Khalwale, Senator Sifuna has explained himself. This is the second time that your allegation that he may have put heaped praises on governors in Mombasa intended to suggest that compromise of oversight is mistaken. He has explained the context, and I would wish that you abandon that line of argument. Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm fully guided, and I'm very cautious about Senator Sifuna. I'm also cautious about Senator Omar Hassan, Emeritus. These are the Secretary Generals of a mongrel of a political party called ODM, UDA.
Senator Khalwale, can you withdraw a reference of a mongrel? I don't know what mongrel political party you're talking about. Do you want to substantiate?
Yes, Madam
Is
Speaker.
there such a
just a little
party?
bit. My mind is a little bit clear on this one. Just a little, bear me. All I wanted to say, in view of that, some of us who were UDA when we came to this house, and UDA transformed into something else after merging with ANC. And then they went and merged with ODM, they became something else. Then,
Senator Khalwale, can you substantiate? Senator Khalwale, kindly substantiate about the merger of ODM and UDA.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, to the best of my knowledge, if I follow events, there has never been a merger between UDA and ODM. What has actually taken place, and it has been pronounced, is that relationship between UDA and ANC, and immediately after, the thing that was birthed out then went into a relationship to UDM, and that's why I use the English word mongrel. We don't know how to describe the thing that came out. But that being what it may I withdraw by requesting Sifuna, in this case, at the end of the day, maybe it is the Secretary General of ODM who will give me my certificate to run in 2027, or the one of UDA, or the one of the dead ANC, or the one of 4K. So I'm very careful about you guys. That is the mongrel. It has got 50 eyes and 3. So, Madam Speaker, I was using this just to appeal to Senator, and I've abandoned that line of approach, that even as we go to Siaya is your neighboring, your region of path. You know that the challenges there are shared with the challenges in Kakamega and in Bungoma and Busia, and would be happy to see encouragement being given to the leadership of all these counties so that they can become economically viable. Madam Speaker, I look at this and I see the billions that are going to these counties every month. You look at a county like Kakamega, at no one time will it get less than 1.1 billion shillings every 4 weeks. And when you go to Kakamega and many other counties, workers, employees of the county governments, their salaries have not been paid, Madam Speaker. Why would a governor, knowing that after 4 weeks I'll get 1.1 billion shillings here in Kakamega, not be able to go to the bank, which is at a walking distance from his office, and negotiate for a 2-week overdraft that can allow him to pay salaries smoothly? It's a shame that county government employees are unpaid. They are in salary arrears in most of our counties. I remember, Madam Speaker, when I was a young doctor, I used to be paid 4,770 shillings per month. And there was a time before Honorable Jerarge was born, when his grandfather was the president, and he was unable, Madam Speaker, he was unable to pay salaries. So we went without salaries, and I didn't know what to do. So I went to the hospital kiosk and started to negotiate about being given free bread for me to take home. It's not a comfortable thing. People's salaries should, in fact, form the first charge on any expenditure so that people can pay rent, people can meet hospital bills, people can pay school fees, people can take their girlfriends for a treat, and all manner of things that salaries do.
What about the wives? What about the wives? Boyfriends, wives?
With my many years of experience, I have learned, Mr. Speaker, that there is no self-respecting Luya man who can be taken out by a girl and the girl foots the bill. You cease being, that one we normally leave for our neighbors there in Nandi there.
Order, Senator Khalwale, can you focus on the issue?
Yes, I'm flowing very well. It's just that Honorable Osodi is the one who is forcing me to deviate because I'm supposed to defend him. You can imagine his son at home, Osodi, to imagine that his girlfriend can take him for an outing. It's not possible. It's unheard of. In fact, Edwin here, who has got a beautiful granddaughter of mine, 8 years old, he's a very rich man in Luya culture because he will always receive from my sons, of course, when they take care of the small girl back at home. So, Madam Speaker, I therefore want to urge governors to pay salaries for our employees, to pay salaries for our MCS. In fact, governors are frustrating MCS with salaries to the extent that instead of paying them their salary, which is due, they hold them over the weekend with some petty cash so that they can move around with them in an entourage so that the governor looks like a big man. Yes. I wish more and more of our senators will become governors so that we kill this African big man syndrome. I don't need. In fact, I want my privacy. Why should MCS be following me when I'm the governor of Kakamega? To do what? They should go to their wards and perform while I do my county work. Yes. Madam Speaker, so that nobody in Kakamega listening to me thinks it's a small thing, we have an average of 10,000 employees of the county government of Kakamega. Assuming that the average salary is 50,000 shillings, if you pay these 10,000 shillings, these 10,000 employees, 50,000 shillings every month on time, 10,000 times 50,000, that is 500 million shillings. So that it means on payday, there is 400 million that goes into circulation. And where does it go? They go to the supermarket, they go to the pubs, they go, and the shop owners, they partake of this money. In fact, their wives partake of their money, their girlfriends partake of the money, and what's more, even the sex workers for the people who ply that kind of business, they partake of that money. So the economy remains vibrant. That's what we are talking about. We want money to flow. These days, you go to Vihiga, Mr. Speaker, you go to Kakamega, you go to Bungoma, the nightlife is not there because people have not been paid salaries. So at 6:30, places close down and the economy stops. This must change with this strict cash disbursement social. I was having a discussion with Honorable Mbadi, a man I respect. And he has told me that he will do everything to make sure that he goes by this cash disbursement schedule. Let us support Mbadi by not going to counties and making flowery speeches about governors, but we go and remind them that Mbadi, no, I have nobody on mind, but remind them that Mbadi has confirmed that he is sending this money timelessly. Madam Speaker, finally but not least, now that this money is there, governors, please do us a favor. Take drugs to the hospitals. We are having enough noise from the collection of funds through SHA and SHIF. We want to have no noise in terms of delivery of service. So that as the president struggles in Nairobi with Duale to ensure that SHA is working, let the patients, when they go to the hospital, they find the services there. It is extremely important. I urge colleagues that we support this and do more by speaking to it when we go back to our counties. Madam Speaker, I second.
Honourable Senators, I propose the question that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the county government's equitable share cash disbursement schedule for financial year 2025-2026, laid on the table of the Senate on Wednesday, 24th September 2025, and that pursuant to Section 17(7) of the Public Finance Management Act and Standing Order 189.3, the Senate approves the equitable share cash disbursement schedule for financial year 2025-2026. Senator Ledama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support this cash disbursement schedule. And as I do so, I think it's important for us to realize that something is amiss with the management of county and national governments in this country. The county governments are autonomous. I've listened to my colleague, the Chief Whip, lamenting that governors are not paying their bills when they're supposed to pay, and calling for them to pay those bills so that everything can be able to move, including the floor, including the nightlife. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, I don't believe, and I'm not in the business of defending governors, but I don't believe the problem here lies with the governors. The problem lies squarely with Treasury. And we must call a spade a spade. If we want to be able to move with development, to be able to make sure that projects in the county governments are not interrupted, we must call a spade a spade. The Constitution, Article 219, is very clear. And I remind each one of us to pick the Constitution, read Article 219. A share of, equitable share of a county government must be released without undue delay. We are now talking about a cash dispensable share. Now, this cash dispensable share, schedule, is very clear. The law says by the 15th of every month, money should be sent to counties. But is that the reality? No, it is not the reality. Our county governments are queuing every day in Treasury, every single day in Treasury, asking for them to be given money. Our county governments are taking loans in commercial banks. And when the next payment is supposed to be dispersed to the counties, it is not dispersed. So it accumulates interest over interest over interest. It's a very shoddy way of managing our resources in a country. Madam Speaker, it is about time that we amend the PFM Act. We amend the PFM Act to be in line with Article 219 strictly and to ensure that this money goes to counties. If we cannot do that because of the excuse given by Treasury, that the government is struggling to raise revenue, then when we talk about amending the constitution, then we also amend the constitution to ensure that county governments maintain their own source revenue. We have a big fight, and here I want to be very honest. We have a very big fight in terms of procurement in counties. Procurement in counties is supposed to be managed by county governments. I have my views, although they could be considered completely unorthodox on this e-procurement business. I completely believe that county government should manage the procurement. The Honorable Mbadi should not be managing the procurements of county governments. He shouldn't. It is quite clear. If you look at Article 6 of the Constitution, Article 176, county governments are autonomous. So the problem that we have is brought about by Section 109 of the PFM Act, where all money collected must be sent to the county revenue fund. And for you to get that money, then we introduce Article 228 of the Constitution, where the controller of budget must now go through and authorize the money that is going to counties. We're here in October now, a few days to October, and we are debating this cash disbursable schedule. And it says that every 15th of the month, that money should be sent. From July 15th, that's what I had, to June 15th. We're in October. What happened to the money for July, August, and now September? We have to look at the systemic issues and deal with them so that we can solve these problems. These reforms, Madam Speaker, are very important. Because today, and I thank the majority leader for saying, let's move, let's get this business out of our order paper. But what happens after we get this business out of our order paper? Will the COB be delaying? Will our county governments be queuing there, waiting to be paid their money? Are we going to be having another bottleneck of e-procurement there? That everybody must subscribe to this, the same problem? In fact, I dare say that we're incubating corruption by delaying the disbursements of funds into counties. Because now, the head of treasury of each county will now decide who to pay and who not to pay. But if we have everything moving without any problems, where the money has already been sent to counties, we will not have salaries delays. I've seen counties where people have not been paid for 2-3 months. Service delivery is interrupted. Suppliers suffer. Others, vehicles are auctioned, properties are auctioned because county governments have not paid. But all of us here standing here, we are blaming county governments that they are not sending the money. Yet, the problem is in treasury, minding into business that they should not be minding into it. So if the truth of the matter is that we are not able to collect enough revenue to send revenue to counties when that money is due, then let's consider, once we pass this referendum bill, and then hopefully we can consider amending the Constitution, let us now then define what this autonomy is for county governments. Let us allow them to keep their own source revenue, account for it, and even introduce an Auditor General specifically for counties so that we can see some progress. So, Madam Speaker, it is imperative that when we are discussing this, we become realistic, we become candid on what the challenges are, because the delays in sending monies to counties is negatively impacting these counties. It is impacting their ability to pay employees. When you don't pay your employee, you don't expect good returns. And that is the reason why this country is still lagging behind, because there is no morale. You find county government employees, they are just running around the streets. Some of them have taken their jackets and they're packed, they've just put it there. They have gone into their offices. You go to our hospitals. Senator Halwale is saying, county governors take drugs to the hospitals. Camps are saying, I will not give you drugs until you pay me my bill. Then the county government say, I've sent it to COB. Their language nowadays is COB, COB, COB. In fact, today I dare say, if you go to the COB there, you'll find almost a representative from all the 47 county governments with a cash disbursement schedule, saying, hey, can you please release this money so that we can pay our employees? The issues of pending bills, we can pay our suppliers. The issues of development. Madam Speaker, when you see these reports being issued out by either the COB on the status of development of each county government, there are counties which are rated to be the last. I think Nairobi is one of them. Ask yourself, are we diligent in this disbursement schedule? Are we able to send money so that the execution of this development plan is not interrupted? So, Madam Speaker, as I end, I want to state the following. Number one, the problem is not county governors, and today I will defend them. The problem is Treasury. The problem lies with the Constitution, the interpretation of Article 228 of the Constitution. It also lies with the role of Treasury. It also lies with the challenges that the county governors are facing when it comes to the issue of on-source revenue. That is where the problem is. If governors were able to spend their on-source revenue, the noise will be less, because whatever is raised by the national government would be secondary to what they can be able to collect. We have counties like my county of Narok, where we collect 5-6 billion in the year. If we are allowed to spend that money on source, then the owners will be on our side to be able to prove that the money we've spent diligently, and we paid our suppliers, we paid our employees. But no, all that money must come, because that's what the law says, Section 109 of the PFM Act, and I think Article 217 of the Constitution. All that money must come to the County Revenue Fund, and then that money is budgeted for. I think we just need reforms on all these budget issues, cash disbursement, because if we don't reform, we will be lamenting day in, day out. Every single year we'll be sitting here in October, after one quarter has lapsed, to talk about cash disbursement schedule. And the moment we pass it, it will take another fortnight before even the money for this financial year is released. So by the end of the financial year in June, there's a lot of money lying on paper, on COB, on the County Revenue Fund. So no projects will ever be completed. So, Madam Speaker, I support and I hope that the chair of this committee and the Committee on Finance and Budget can actually begin drafting amendments that can assist this country develop.
Senator Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to, Madam Speaker, I rise to support this very important motion on the report of our Committee on Budget and Finance. Earlier on, there were comments about who is senior, Madam Speaker, and I agree to the comments made by the Majority Whip, who has since left. But I'd be quick to remind him that I served this committee for a straight 8 years. I don't think he has served that number of years, Madam Speaker. What is important before, this report is extremely important. And Madam Speaker, why I find it to be important is that it serves as a guide. We may not have achieved, and I agree, I think to Senator Sifuna or somebody said earlier, that we passed this cash disbursement schedule many times. But how comes there's very little compliance to it? But it is not a deterrence for us to still do the right thing. And there's a history, Madam Speaker, as to how we came about this conversation of a cash disbursement schedule. This is something we introduced about 2016 or thereabouts, Madam Speaker, because initially, what used to happen, you'd find that counties at the end of the financial year are being lagged by nearly half of what was the equitable share, and they're actually being asked to consume it before the 30th of June, which is the end of a financial year. And that is what arose or led to many, many scandals, Madam Speaker. If you remember the first cycle of governance between 2013 and 2017, because many of them were doing hurried procurements just to fulfill and tick off requirements that they have funds finally in their accounts after waiting, and there was all the messes that we continue to read about up to today. And therefore, this serves as an important guide. It is a true north, Madam Speaker, in terms of shareable revenue to counties. And we must continue to push until such a time, Madam Speaker, where counties will get their funds on time and without undue delay, as expected by the constitutional dictates of our country, Madam Speaker. You know, previously, and I must celebrate this because I remember, I think last year, when we said that it's a good thing, finally, by 30th of June, the National Treasury had submitted every coin that is due. Many people that didn't understand the history again of how equitable share was being sent to counties felt that there's nothing worth celebrating about. But I felt that it is an important achievement because there are times, Madam Speaker, where counties in the month of August and September of a new financial year, Madam Speaker, will still be waiting for the last disbursement of the previous financial year. And that put them in very difficult situation. This problem that we have in the counties of pending bills, Madam Speaker, is on account actually of revenue to the counties that is not sent at the right time, Madam Speaker, or disbursed at the accurate time. Though there are other reasons, but this is one of the main reasons, Madam Speaker, that contributes to actually pending bills accruing. I know that many county governments have since established creative ways, Madam Speaker, of filling the gap, many of which end up costing taxpayers money, additional funds. They have signed, I think, agreements with various banks, KCB, I don't know which one, where at least particularly for salaries, even if there's a delay, they consistently get their salaries. And you have to understand where county governments are coming from. Because if you're a governor and it's 6th, you can't be pushing people to come to work early when you have not paid them their salary, Madam Speaker. It might be true that some of them don't even have fare. So we must continue to push and demand from the National Treasury that with the same seriousness that they treat debt, because I know debt is a first charge on the on account to revenue that has been raised nationally, Madam Speaker, that they must treat cash to our, cash disbursement to our counties with the same level of seriousness, Madam Speaker. Because in any case, the Constitution has already divided these funds between what remains at the national government and what goes to the county governments, Madam Speaker. And it's unfortunate that up to date, Madam Speaker, we have to push and issue statements here, sometimes even threats from Council of Governors for some of these disbursements to be issued, Madam Speaker. I strongly believe, Madam Speaker, that that was not the expectation of our Constitution. Having said that and having explained and appreciated the need for this report, Madam Speaker, there are a few things that I must say about our county governments as well, Madam Speaker. First and foremost, we must continue to be the house that pushes for the realization of the devolution dream in the Republic of Kenya. The Senate is properly placed in this constitutional architecture to be the defenders of the interest of county governments. By the same vein that we are pushing for county governments to be funded, we must continue to speak up against the misuse of public funds in our county governments. Both misappropriation, Madam Speaker, or even misbudgeting and all the malfeasance that we see in many of our county governments, Madam Speaker. We must continue to be the voice of reason in the devolution conversation, because at least the office of a senator in any county government, Madam Speaker, they don't have any other interest other than the interest to ensure that service is delivered to Mwananchi. Many times, Madam Speaker, when senators speak, people either choose to misunderstand us or perceive that there is a specific interest that we are trying to pursue. That is not the case. Many times, I am very clear, Madam Speaker, that when we insist that monies be put to prudent use in our county governments, Madam Speaker, that perhaps maybe we have interest against certain individuals, we are sent by the call of duty to just expect that our county governments will perform in an optimal manner, Madam Speaker. I heard my colleague, Senator Ledama, say that he disagrees with the CS for National Treasury, John Badi, on the directive to county governments on e-procurement. That is a statement of fact. There is no way the National Treasury can direct county governments on their operation. That is common sense. However, Senator Ledama, the part that I disagree with you is a part that you appear to be actually making excuse for the kind of procurement practices that you are seeing in our county governments. In fact, we should be leading the way as a Senate in ensuring that county governments do their procurement electronically so that you are able to trace and know at what services are these county governments procuring services. We saw a report here the other day from county governments where they're buying a bottle of soda at 1,000 shillings. If there was e-procurement in those counties, you're able to see the process from start, from what time the tender was issued up to the end. This issue of paperwork is what is making our counties spend nearly 70 to 80% of their development span over and above what is the common price of common items, even in your own county of Narok, Senator Ledama. Therefore, I believe, as a Senate, Madam Speaker, we must push.
Point of information? Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Madam Speaker, I have a lot of respect for my friend, the majority leader. And I just want to be very clear that my statement and my position on e-procurement is that national government deal with your e-procurement. County government are semi-autonomous. I fully support e-procurement, but an e-procurement managed by county governments. Not an e-procurement that is managed by the national government for county governments. That is my position. And my statement is supported by law, by the Constitution, Article 6, Article 176 of the Constitution, and even Article 179 that says the executive authority of a county is vested and exercised by the governor and the 10 CC members. So that is my position. It is not that I do not support the e-procurement. I do. I went to court, Madam Speaker, to stop a procurement process in Narok County because I felt that it was not right. So Senator Okiya Omtata went to court because of a procurement challenge in Busia County. So the issue is having the national government controlling county governments.
You know, that is good clarity. I just need to be sure that my colleague is not opposed to e-procurement in county governments, because that's the only way we can establish, Senator Ledama, the procurement processes that are running. You know, I saw our colleagues in the National Assembly fuming and breathing, saying, oh, there's no way we can allow. There's no internet in other parts of the country. Yet I know for a fact that the only interest in that matter for most of them is because they want to do procurement in CDF manually so that they can dish contracts to many of their friends. We must be different, senators. We must be firm and tell our county governors that we want to see a procurement process that is transparent. And the only way you can do that, do this thing electronically. In fact, many of the people that you procure services from, they know how to run digital systems. Let them upload their quote so that I'm able to evaluate and know what is it that led to me losing out on a particular tender, why a certain contractor was awarded, at what price, things that members of the public cannot see now. I said in this house yesterday that the one thing I appreciate about SHA, Madam Speaker, is the transparency of posting how public funds are being sent to all these institutions so that people can read. Diligent citizens can look and say, how are you claiming that this particular hospital received this amount of money? The same must be made out of procurement in our county governments, Madam Speaker. The second issue that I wanted to speak about, colleagues senators, is that we must continue to push for efficiency in our county governments. Last session, when we tabled here the reports from the Public Accounts Committee, Madam Speaker, on financial year analysis of all our 47 county governments, doesn't it bother you, colleagues senators, that of all the 47 counties, first of all, none meets the statutory edict of using up 35% of your resources on actual development? Doesn't it bother you that more than half counties, more than half of our 47 counties, Madam Speaker, are spending half of their shareable revenue to pay just salaries?
Senator Kalwale, that will bother you. If the 10 billion you're sending to Kakamega, 5 billion is being used to pay the 10,000 people you're talking about. Shouldn't we be concerned as a house? Those are the things that we must begin to speak about, Madam Speaker, if we are true to the dictates of our Constitution on the objects of devolution. Because I believe, Madam Speaker, that when Kenyans voted for this Constitution, they believe that they were voting for services to come closer to the people. It's not for one individual in my village to be employed. Then a governor comes and says, oh, you know, in this village, I've employed so-and-so as this, as a warden or the other. What they actually need, I'd rather you have medicine in the dispensary in my village, because at least when one of us falls sick, they have an opportunity to go to that particular hospital. We must continue to push, dear friends, that county governments perform optimally. Even as we push this conversation on funds being devolved to them, we must have an analysis that is objective. Madam Speaker, you know that I have said many times that I went back to school to better my understanding of issues. And in my project, because each time you study, you must submit a project proposal. I have submitted a project proposal on the efficiency in county government, how to measure it empirically, so that we don't have this funny business by some pollsters who keep coming to us and telling us, oh, I don't know, Governor so-and-so is ranked better, but no empirical way of checking. You pay 50 to 100,000 and then they rank you. We want a scientific way of checking. When you are elected as governor, how much was being collected as own source revenue in a county? How much is being collected now? How much was being sent in actual development spend? And how much is being used up now? How have you reduced exposure of county on fiduciary risk? What is the feeling of Mwananchi on access to services in your county government? What is the proximity to service? How many health centers, if we went in your county, if your county has 50 health centers, how many of them are at least have medicine for common diseases, Madam Speaker? Or we are likely to find just the free things that they give, which are used by young men that I don't want to mention, on the floor of the Senate. Because that's what you find in many of these dispensaries. Not to say that they're not, okay, Senator Mungatana is reminding me that even old men use those things. I don't know how true and what it is. Okay, it is Senator Chesang, Madam Speaker. But the point that I'm making is that, as a Senate, having sat here as an institution for our third cycle, surely it is not beyond us to find ways of pushing for better and more prudent ways of spending these resources that we send to county governments in a way that is objective, so that when Senator Boni Kalwale speaks, people don't say it is because he wants to unseat Governor Fernandez. People can see and say, okay, the senator is making a fair point. Madam Speaker, I believe that before the end of our term, it will be a failure of monumental proportion if, as a House, we will not have elevated this conversation on performance of our county governments to be just beyond the reports of PAC and CPI committees. There must be better ways, Madam Speaker, that we can check, so that even we cost these functions and are able now to go back to our colleagues in the National Assembly and say 415 is not enough because of reason A, B, C, and D, Madam Speaker. I believe, Madam Speaker, that this House has sufficient competence in both the senators and the technical staff that we have that can lead us into that direction. It is my hope, Madam Speaker, like colleagues who have spoken ahead of me have said, that at the end of this financial year, perhaps it's about time that as we receive the report on the cash disbursement schedule for the upcoming financial year, that we equally get a report of the compliance in the previous financial year to establish and say, this is what these funds were supposed to be, this is when these funds were supposed to have been disbursed, they delayed by how many days? So that then we continue to push on this particular item and ensure that our county governments are properly and sufficiently funded to take services closer to Mwananchi. With those many remarks, Madam Speaker, I beg to support and hope our colleagues, we can conclude on this debate actually today, so that money can flow as it's supposed to be to our county governments. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Sifuna.
Madam Speaker, I hope the majority leader understands the feeling of the futility of this exercise year in, year out, because he himself has expressed those frustrations that, in fact, after we do all this, nothing actually is followed by anyone. From your contributions, it sounded to me as if this disbursement schedule is just a suggestion to the National Treasury that they can, he used the word a guide. And the Honorable Speaker, I was listening to him keenly. He said that this Senate introduced this tradition of passing a disbursement schedule in 2015, when he said that at that particular point in time you would find 50% of the money due to counties going only to counties only at the end of the financial year. But Majority Leader, the question I'm asking myself, because when I read the report of the committee, they are still talking about 42% of the money that was meant to go to counties in the 2024-25 financial year having been disbursed in the final quarter. Are we really making progress with this piece of legislation? So, Honorable Speaker, you look at the schedule that is attached to the report. It creates this image that because Nairobi has been allocated 21.4 billion shillings in this financial year, 1.7 billion shillings should be released to the county government of Nairobi on the 15th of each month. On the 15th of each month. But this has never happened. As we speak today, I think the county governors are telling us in the County Public Accounts Committee that the last disbursement they received was for the month of July. So, Honorable Speaker, we are asking ourselves certain questions. If indeed this document is supposed to tie the hands of Treasury so that there is a predictable flow of funds to the county governments, why is it never respected? And that is the reason why I was telling the Majority Leader at the advent of this debate that it would have been better for us to spend more time on the questions and statements and say the things that need to be said, because this one, from my perspective, is an exercise in futility. Even in your own personal life, Honorable Speaker, if you don't know when and if you're going to be paid, how do you plan yourself? How do you know when you're supposed to receive the money to pay your rent, to buy food, to be able to take your kids to school? It is very difficult. And in fact, Senator Khalwale had made a suggestion here that we should tie the hands of Treasury further and require that they disburse this money. I think he said every month, or I don't know what he said. But for me, in view of what has been happening with our county governments, my suggestion would actually be that this money be released every quarter at the beginning of the quarter, so that the county governments can be able to have at least a 3-month supply of resources to be able to take care of the jobs that they've been given to do under the Constitution. Now, Honorable Speaker, we have always argued that the National Treasury has never understood that it is not a national government treasury, that it is a treasury for both levels of government, so that from their behavior and conduct, one can be almost persuaded that they do not consider county governments a priority. The National Treasury does not consider money that is supposed to go to county governments a priority. So they will do other things. And because we live in this country, Honorable Speaker, we can see where the other money is going. You know, 3/4 of the budget is retained by the national government, and we can see where the money is going. How can you host 10,000 people at once, and all of them live with 10,000 shillings? Where are you getting that money? Where are you getting that money? If a governor were to pull such a stunt, the EACC would be in his office tomorrow. But we are seeing it. Every single time, huge delegations being hosted and being given money. So, Honorable Speaker, if we were to starve the national government of that money and give these counties the same, Honorable Speaker, we would do better. There was a claim here, I don't remember which financial year it was. People made a lot of noise, saying, oh, for the first time, counties are up to date. This is this new administration. What happened to that? What happened to that? Where are we with that? Because it was not true. It was simply not true. So therefore, Speaker, we are not saying that we do not have problems in the county governments. I myself, as a senator of Nairobi, when the committee report on the public accounts was brought here, you saw that Nairobi has the largest fiduciary risk. You saw that we have the highest spending bills of over 100 billion shillings. Honorable Speaker, we have staff here who have not been paid for months. And all of them, they come to my office all the time. They say, oh, we have not received this, we have not received that. MCAs are on our necks as senators here. There are no capital projects in their wards. The ones that were concluded, the roads, Honorable Speaker, the contractors have not been paid. That debt, that pending bill continues to grow. What have we proposed at CPAC to deal with some of these issues? Senator Halwale will be happy to know that the County Public Accounts Committee has proposed two things. First of all, we are going to do a list of shame for 10 counties. 10 counties that have repeatedly violated the public finance management laws and the Constitution. And we had an engagement with the Treasury, CS, John Badi, that we were actually going to recommend stoppage of funds for these 10 specific counties. But then, Honorable Speaker, the paradox is, how will the county government feel the pinch if in the normal course of events, they receive money 3 months later? Because the Constitution gives us, when you stop funds, the Constitution gives you a window of 3 months. You stop funds for 3 months. The governors are telling you, we have not received funds for 3 months anyway. So even if you order stoppage of funds, they will not feel it. But we need National Treasury to cooperate with us so that when we put these mechanisms in place, they actually work. I have heard also the majority leader lament about this opinion polling that ranks various governors and even members of parliament. And at County Public Accounts Committee, we have actually suggested and we will be proposing to this House that the best ranking for county government performance can only come from the Senate. It can only come from the Senate and its committees. You combine all these reports of all these counties, Education Committee, the Health Committee, the County Public Accounts Committee, and then you as a Senate can give an objective ranking as opposed to these posters who, as you have had accusations flying around from the majority leader, are not very reliable. Honorable Speaker, on e-government procurement, I also want to just add my voice to the sentiments that have been expressed by my colleague from Narok, that in fact, that EGP, and I believe there was a court order that stopped the implementation of that EGP, but because this government is not known for respecting court orders, they have chosen to ignore this one as well. We want to advise the National Treasury that nobody has anything against technology. Nobody has anything against deploying technology in procurement. In fact, we believe in its ability to be able to bring greater transparency to some of the happenings. And when majority leader referred to the SHA system, I was just laughing because immediately this government realized that Kenyans are going through every payment on the SHA website. What did they do? They pulled it down. They pulled the system down so that we could not see which hospitals they were paying. So if we do not have a national commitment to fighting this vice, let us not pretend that technology will come in and be the panacea to all these problems that we have been facing. I want to agree strongly that the e-procurement can be deployed separately without any one government level having to exercise jurisdiction that it does not have over the other governments. So let us have our own EGP at the county levels, let the government at the national level do its own. So, Honorable Speaker, with those many remarks, I want to conclude by saying I support the report of the committee.
Senator Cherarke.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. From the onset, I want to support this motion. I think it's more of ritual or procedural motion. But, Madam Speaker, I want to correct a misconception that was advanced by my neighbor senator on that when we are on dates with girls and wives is that they pay our bills. They don't. In fact, Madam Speaker, I want to present as statistics that as the neighboring county, we have rescued many girls from Luhya Nation, the neighbors, by marrying a number of them. If you come to Nandi, we have a quite number, which means the Kalwales and the likes of this world are doing badly. Because we are very generous. We are very generous and supportive, Madam Speaker, as you are aware. So in that region, Kalenjin men and Mwaso Nandi are highly sought after.
Order, Senator Cherarke.
I
am not aware of anything.
No, Madam Speaker, I'm making you aware, Madam Speaker, because Senator Kalwale inferred in his remarks, Madam Speaker, so he should be excited that we are good neighbors and we are very generous and will continue to support the girl child from Kakamega and other counties in that region. Madam Speaker, let me make a few comments. You know, under Article 219 of the Constitution, Madam Speaker, any money that is appropriated by Parliament should be dispersed without undue delay. I have never understood the wisdom, either of it or lack of it, why we do cash disbursements. Because the moment we have done, and the Constitution under Article 219 is very clear, that it should be dispersed without undue delay. So I don't know whether we are following the Constitution, we are violating the Constitution, we are defiling the Constitution, we are rewriting the... Think in future, if we have to amend the Constitution, the way my brother from Narok has said, then we amend and give power to Parliament to investigate and prosecute and jail. Because whenever we go to Wananchi and tell them this money has come, they tell us, where is the money? Money has been stolen. When you come to EACC, they tell you we are doing analysis to the file. File has been taken to DPP. DPP, the file is not prima facie. The file is a skeleton. Somebody has been discharged, Madam Speaker, without due regard. And I'm happy the appeal by EACC in some of corruption cases, the high courts have said those corruption cases must be ensured that it's pre-prosecuted, Madam Speaker. So this issue of corruption will continue to be the biggest threat in the success of devolution in this country. And even this issue of pending bills, Madam Speaker, that will be my third point, is very unfortunate. I have said, Madam Speaker, and whenever OAG and county governments bring a schedule, can you believe, Senator of Narok, that some of the pending bills for 15 years is 20,000 shillings, is 50,000 shillings. Madam Speaker, I can tell you most of the small businesses are being killed by counties. Because you hear somebody, pending bill, I have a pending bill in Kakamega, in Busia. And I want to thank Senator Okoiti Okiya Omtata Andrew, the former seminarian, Madam Speaker, because he was telling me that he almost became a priest. I think along the way he saw a beautiful girl and he abandoned the high calling. And I want to laud him, Madam Speaker, for ensuring that we have got a serious decision on our role to the oversight, Madam Speaker.
Senator Mtata, do you have a point of order? Or do you want to be informed?
No, he's a presidential candidate. He can inform me.
I would like to inform the Venerable Senator and the Bull of Nandi. I did not leave the seminary because I saw a beautiful girl. Yes. I'll just tell you that I didn't leave the seminary because of any issue of morality or faith. My faith was not compromised. My morality was not compromised. Yes. But I left. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, maybe what he saw in seminary could have compromised his decision in faith and morality. And that is why I was saying we must ensure that the decision that Senator Okiya Omtata, and he is enriching the legal jurisprudence in terms of devolution role in this country. And I want to thank him on behalf of all of us. You know, Madam Speaker, oversight has become under threat. You remember there has been a conversation that even Senate should not be doing oversight. And the deputy party leader of ODM is looking at me and smiling, Madam Speaker. Very sad and tragic that it's MCS. Can you believe the MCS to do oversight? Look at the MCS of Nairobi. They were called and they were told to abandon the agenda of impeaching the governor, and they abandoned. So can you imagine MCS oversighting anybody? While I respect and I have a tremendous respect for MCS across the country, and I believe that they should be given better capacity and ability, they don't have that mojo to all governors to accountable. And I hope the deputy party leader of ODM, Senator Utsosi, will correct that perception in future, because we know ODM has pro-devolution in all aspects. Madam Speaker, the issue of capital projects, that will be my fourth point, is we have noticed. We have noticed, and that is why I was saying on the pending bills. It is tied up between projects and the pending bills, Madam Speaker. Because on this issue of pending bills, and I want to say, I don't know, maybe other counties are different. Madam Speaker, most of our businessmen and women young people and PWDs, even in Kisumu, where you come from, Madam Speaker, you get people getting diabetes and pressure. When you look at them, they are being owed 100,000 for the last 5 years by county governments. Madam Speaker, we must make a decisive action. What do we do to cure this problem? We saw even in Homa Bay County, where contractors were protesting. They wanted even to come to Public Accounts Committee to protest when their governor was appearing because of non-payment of pending bills. Even in Nandi, we have similar problems, Madam Speaker. It will reach a point that you will include 1,000 ways to die by doing business with counties. There is a program called a documentary, and I know the gentleman from Narok who has stayed in the United States from America knows that documentary, that there is what you call 1,000 ways to die, or is it 10,000 ways to die, is to do business with counties. In fact, my friends now, whenever they tell me they are doing business with counties, I told them to write their business obituaries, because that will be the end of their businesses. In fact, we encourage people to do private business. So this perception must be corrected. Or finally, on the capital projects, there are many littered projects across the counties, Madam Speaker. We talked about vehicles a few hours ago. There are projects, for example, in Nandi, and I saw my governor saying that there is a project complete in Kapsengere. Kapsengere is near Nyangori, where PH headquarters. There is no Kapsengere dispensary hospital as told. My neighbor knows that. You come to Kobuja, East don't throw away. Next to East, that Kobuja hospital as told. In fact, Kobuja is center where he comes from, and I want to appeal to him that we have passed the money. At least he can build a public toilet in Kobuja center where he comes from. Even if you go to Chepterwai, near Mudete, the Chepterwai level 4 Nyayo hospital as told. You come to Mosoriat, you go to Tindred Maraba hospital, Madam Speaker, they have stole. Even the mortuary. People are now, God forbid, when people pass in Nandi, they have to go to private mortuaries, because there was a misappropriation of 100 million plus that was made. So people depend on Nandi sub-county for 34 bodies only, which accommodate the people. This is undermining Article 37 on dignity of Kenyans, and more so the people of Nandi, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, that is why I want to say in conclusion, and I want to correct the perception. Madam Speaker, if you are in politics and you don't use resources, you better not be in politics. I've had a Nairobi senator saying that when the president meets people and facilitate, I want to dare any politician who is here, that whenever you host delegations, you don't give them food, chai and mandazi, and give them transport. This issue of people being too mean should stop. I remember when we went to Senator Otsosi's home, food was flowing freely. And he was sorting people. He was praying. He was praying his supporters, Madam Speaker. And then somebody, if you are in politics, resources and politics go together. And I want to tell these people who are saying it is wrong to use resources in politics, let them wait for the ballot in 2027. If they are not using resources to ensure that, and I'm happy in TIFA results, Madam Speaker. You have seen our party, UDA, is the most popular party in this country. And that is why we elected Wakwabi, Senator Wakwabi from Bungoma.
Point of order, Wakwabubi.
Wakwabi.
It's Wakwabubi.
Wakwakubi. As one of our...
Say it correctly, it is Wakwabubi.
Senator Consolata, so that you will teach me privately.
What's your point of order, Senator Ledama?
Madam Speaker, this is a house of record, and it's important for all of us to be factual. I'm a member of ODM, and my good friend is a member of UDA. I've seen the TIFA report. Yes. But unless my good friend is willing to table it here, he should withdraw what he just said. Because the popularities of counties, what is fact of political parties? My political party of ODM, your political party of UDA, the popularity is not what it was in 2024 and versus today. That's a fact. So I want to ask you to either withdraw that statement or table the report here so that we can actually be factual. Because, you know, this is a house of record.
Senator
Madam Speaker, in conclusion.
Can you respond to that, please? Please. Yeah, just withdraw if you are not able to.
No, I'm not withdrawing, Madam Speaker. I will table the TIFA report tomorrow to show that UDA is the most popular party. And in fact, President William Ruto will be re-elected in 2027. Those are facts that are in that TIFA report. I'm willing to table tomorrow in the afternoon as by your guidance, Madam Speaker. So in conclusion, let us appeal that this money go to the people so that they can get value. This is their tax, and I think that is what is important in this report, and commend the Finance and Budget Committee that I want to assure Nandi, Madam Speaker, will get 7.7 billion in this financial year of 2025-2026. And in future, Madam Speaker, when some of us will better things in that county, God willing, when I'm called, we will ensure Nandi is transformed into one of the world-class counties that we have ever seen in the history of this republic. With those many remarks, Madam Speaker, allow me to support and congratulate the committee on this report, and I hope the compliance will come automatically as per the Constitution. I support.
Senator Osoti.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to also comment on this very important motion, a motion to basically process the cash disbursement schedule for equitable share for the year 2025-2026. Mr. Speaker, I want to join my colleague Cheragei, who said that, and Honorable Sifuna, who said that I do not understand why every year we sit in here debating how cash should be disbursed to our counties, when there is clarity in law. Madam Speaker, Article 219 of the Constitution is very clear that the money should be disbursed to counties without undue delay or reduction. Madam Speaker, the law is very clear, and the framers of the Constitution knew that there was going to be a challenge in revenue collection. So there will be a delay. But they insisted, they qualified that and said undue delay, meaning unreasonable delay, Madam Speaker. But what are we seeing, Madam Speaker? We are seeing a situation where counties run even 4-5 months without money from the National Treasury. And the PFM, Madam Speaker, is also very clear. It has actually improved on what the Constitution says by saying that money should be disbursed to the counties on the 15th day of the month. Madam Speaker, as a Senate, we come here every year, we perform this ritual. When it comes to equitable share, we perform this ritual called disbursement schedule. When it comes to additional allocation, even money coming from donors, we come here past the schedule. But the national government never follows this disbursement schedule. So what are we doing, Madam Speaker? We are wasting our time. We are wasting our energy in doing this ritual every year. I think by now we ought to come up with a solution to this problem. Because I can tell you, my few years in this Senate, I have realized that actually the problem of devolution starts here. The problem of devolution starts with delayed disbursement of funds to our counties. Because the delayed disbursement, Madam Speaker, is what breeds corruption in our counties. Especially if Treasury now releases, like last financial year, they released money to the counties a day before the end of the financial year. So you find that in counties, people are seated there, their work is just to see who to pay, how to maneuver the payment system, and get some people paid, and how even to do corruption, Madam Speaker. So the problems of devolution starts with this problem of delayed disbursement of funds. Madam Speaker, even issues like absorption in county projects. The problem starts here, Madam Speaker. The issues of planning of projects in counties. The problem starts here. Madam Speaker, even issues of performance in the counties starts here. Because how do you expect to have a performing workforce in counties when people are not being paid in time, Madam Speaker? Even the morale of the staff goes down. That's why you go to counties and you find that staff are not even working. They don't go to work. And when there is no money in the county, even the governors don't sit in their offices, Madam Speaker. Because contractors are on their neck, employees have not been paid, so they leave the office. Senior officials of the counties don't even sit in offices, Madam Speaker. And that overall affects the performance in the counties. So the problems of devolution, Madam Speaker, if you ask me, and Madam Speaker, you are a Vice Chair of Committee of Devolution. Madam Speaker, I would like you to listen to me and my good friend Senator Sigei is interrupting you. I am saying, Madam Speaker, you are the Vice Chair of Devolution Committee. If there is one single thing that your committee, working closely with the Finance Committee, is going to do in this House, is to look at this problem of late disbursement of funds to the counties. We must get a solution to that, because that is the source of problems in devolution in this country. I am saying that with authority because, Madam Speaker, 2 weeks ago, I led a delegation of my committee and some county officials to go and study the devolution system in Morocco. I was surprised. I was surprised that their process of disbursement to counties or regions is flawless. There is no problem of delayed disbursement to the counties. And therefore, they are able to do their work in time. And when it comes to auditing, they have a different auditing method, Madam Speaker. Their auditing method is a judicial method based on the French model, where counties or regions appear before a magistrate setup, and they are able to defend their reports, and judgment is issued there and there, so that if you have stolen, you are taken to jail from there, or penalties are issued there. So we need to look at ways of strengthening devolution. And our role under Article 96 of the Constitution is to protect devolution. I want to say that if indeed this House exists to protect devolution, I think we must deal with this problem of late disbursement of funds. Suggestions have been made in the past, Madam Speaker. I remember in the past there was a suggestion by COG that to solve this problem, why can't we have a contingency fund in central bank, where the national government will put in their money and counties will be able to borrow at minimal, extremely minimal interest. Because now, we are delaying to send money to the counties, so what do counties do? They go to commercial bank, they are given loans at higher interest, and they end up now paying even more. That end up even affecting their budgets, Madam Speaker. So in fact, I want to recommend that one of the things the Finance Committee should do is to try and carry out a research to find out how much are counties paying in terms of interest arising from late disbursement of funds. And Madam Speaker, you will discover is billions of money, Madam Speaker. And this is also another source of corruption, Madam Speaker. Because now, county
Senator
officials...
Sotsi, the chair has now changed to Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, my good friend, I have seen.
Thank you.
Sorry for that. So, Mr. Speaker, this is also another source of corruption because county officials are colluding with bank officials so that they can get some kickbacks by getting loans from commercial banks at a higher interest. So a solution needs to be found so that we can get to the bottom of this matter, because as I said earlier, this is the real source of cancer affecting devolution in this country. Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, sorry. Mr. Speaker, we have this problem of delayed disbursement in our counties. But we don't have the similar problem in national government. You will never hear that salaries in national government have been delayed. They are always paid on time, Mr. Speaker. But our counties, people are running several months without pay. They are running several months without pay. And these same people are the ones entrusted to collect ONSO's revenue. So what are they going to do? They will simply collect the ONSO's revenue and pay themselves, waiting for the salary to come. And that's why we have a problem with ONSO's revenue management in our counties, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, we want to ask the Treasury, if this House of Parliament can pass a disbursement schedule, and you take it, you put it aside like a piece of paper, some junior officer there who manages exchequer is more powerful than this House, that we can pass such an important motion and then nothing happens. I know recently, Mr. Speaker, we passed a disbursement schedule on additional allocation, which contained 80% were donor funds. As we speak now, that money has not been disbursed to counties. And yet it's donor money. So what happens there, Mr. Speaker? That even donor money that has already been remitted to national government is never disbursed to the counties. It is delayed because that money is put in other things, Mr. Speaker. It's put in other things, and our counties are suffering. And that's why, Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with Senator Wambua proposal that we don't need national treasury. We need treasury, Kenyan treasury, that is going to serve both the national government and the county government. We need a full department in treasury that is going to deal with the county governments, and not what is there now, Mr. Speaker. Because the national treasury is working at the whims of the executive, the national government, and they don't care about county governments. Something has to be done, and maybe we need a law to be brought to this House to be very clear on how the national treasury is going to be organized, so that the treasury is not going to serve the interest of national executive. It is going to serve the interests of two levels of government. Mr. Speaker, I also wanted to demonstrate the effect, the spiral effect of late disbursement of funds. What happens? We are going to pass this disbursement schedule. They will sit on it for the next 1 month, and then they will disburse money for July. And then after that, that money now, counties accessing it, they have now to come to COB. COB now will take another 1 month. And then now when it goes to the counties, of course there is other delays there. The county assembly will even suffer more, because now the county assembly has to get their money through the county executive. And that's why we are saying that law that we passed in this House, the financial autonomy of county assembly, must now be implemented immediately, because the president has already signed it into law. Why is it not being implemented, Mr. Speaker? We want to see a scenario where this late disbursement of funds does not continue affecting the oversight in our counties. Because these spiral delays it is also affecting the level of quality of oversight in our counties, because the MCAs don't get their money in time. MCAs are not paid in time, just like county officials. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that the committees of finance, the committees of devolution, I think they need to look at these bottlenecks in devolution very seriously. And my understanding is that all the problems of devolution starts here, including pending bills. Our good friend here, Senator Ledama, came up with a very good motion here on pending bills. We passed it, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, nothing has been done, Mr. Speaker. Nothing has been done. We gave recommendations to COB. We gave recommendations to the counties. They have ignored those recommendations, and the pending bills are piling in our counties. Mr. Speaker, why are we here for? If the things that we pass in this House are never implemented by relevant organization. And I think it's a high time, we have said it many times here, Mr. Speaker, that is a high time institutions like COB are called to appear in the committee of the whole House so that we question them on these issues. Even EACC should be called and appear here. What they are doing in our counties, it is a mess. They come, they raid the county offices, carry files away, and then now they will stay for years with those files. When the county executive appears in the oversight committees of Pack and Pick, they come and say, we don't have documents. Why? They were taken away by EACC. And this is a mess. It is affecting devolution in many ways. So, Mr. Speaker, I think we need to put more focus around this issue of disbursement of funds. And most importantly, we must get an explanation why money that is already given to government is being delayed to come to us. Money that is given by donors under additional allocation. Why would it take long to be taken to counties, and yet the money has already been reflected in government books? Mr. Speaker, that money should be taken to counties. Yesterday in my committee, we were looking at FLOCA, climate change funds, for Vihiga County. And one of the things that we faced was late disbursement of funds from National Treasury. Why would we have late disbursement of funds for donor-funded money? The money should just be available. In fact, they should transfer the money in whole to the counties, not even on monthly basis. They should transfer the money in one tranche to the counties. Mr. Speaker, something has to be done around the issue of disbursement of funds, and it is in our hands as a Senate, the relevant committees of finance and devolution. They need to up their game. And I believe that if they did something, then we will stop this crybaby kind of thing that we go through every year when we are passing this schedule, and become real protectors of devolution in this country. Mr. Speaker, for those many remarks, I support.
I'll call upon Senator Okoiti Omtata.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this motion, which I support, but with a few comments. Among my comments, I will start off where my good brother, Senator Soti, was going to but stopped short. Mr. Speaker, we are dealing with a design problem that cannot be solved with a lot of English. Yes, my county has been allocated some good money, and every month end it is supposed to receive every mid-month, is supposed to receive about 630,000 shillings. It has been allocated 7.956 billion for the year 2025-2026. Now, the problem is with the national treasury is a design problem. The Constitution never anticipated or expected that the national treasury to be a ministry of the national government. The national treasury was supposed to be autonomous so that it can serve all the 48 governments, the national government and the 47 county governments equitably and equally. But because the national treasury is a ministry headed by a cabinet secretary and headed by a principal, who is assisted by the principal secretary and the departments there, that's basically how Section 11 of the Public Finance Management Act defines the national treasury. That is in contradiction with Article 225, Clause 1 of the Constitution, which clearly requires that the national treasury shall be set up by an act of parliament, or an act of parliament shall provide for the national treasury. To underscore that, if you go to Article 152, 1D, it clearly says that we shall have not fewer than 14 cabinet secretaries and not more than 22 cabinet secretaries. Not less than 14 and not more than 22. Much later on, in 225, is when the national treasury is being set up. There's nowhere it was anticipated that the national treasury would be part of the national government. That it will be headed by a cabinet secretary and a minister, and a cabinet secretary and a principal secretary appointed by the president and who serve at the pleasure of the president, who have no security of tenure. And you have heard the president say that, I have given counties money. How? Whose money can he give to counties? He can't give counties money. We must get the institution right. We must create an independent treasury as anticipated and have an independent treasurer, a professional who has security of tenure, who is competitively recruited, he can't be fired, and that man will ensure that the law is dealt with. We shall stop lamenting about the late disbursement of funds to county governments. Even the corruption we are talking about, we also need a similar institution at the county government. We must take the money away from the governor. The idea of having an imperial governor at the county and an imperial president at the national level is what we should be fighting in this house. We must ensure the separation of powers. The executive power should remain with the president, but the power of the purse should go back to parliament and be vested in three institutions. That's parliament itself, which does the budget, the control of budget, who oversees the budget, and the national treasurer, who then disburses funds in a professional manner, not according to political whims. The same structure should be there at the county government. We must slay the imperial governor, take money away from the governor and invest it in an independent county treasurer who cannot be fired by the governor, who is competitively recruited, and who serves the public, not an individual. That way we shall protect money. That particular person will be able to ensure that there are no pending bills. Because pending bills are unconstitutional. They should not be there. And pending bills are not a public debt. That's something we should also clarify. Article 214 of the Constitution is very clear on what constitutes a public debt. And that article gives it very clearly that public debt is a charge on the consolidated fund but an act of parliament shall provide for charging all that. Now, part 2 of 214 clearly defines what a public debt is. For the purpose of this article, the public debt means all financial obligations attendant to loans raised or guaranteed and securities issued or guaranteed by the national government. That alone says that a county government has got no capacity to incur a public debt. So a pending bill cannot be a public debt, and that's why I want to depart with the motion that we passed in this House that was saying that pending bills should be the first charge on the county revenue fund. They are not public debts, because the public debt is clearly defined in the Constitution. And I agree with the control of budget for not agreeing with the motion we passed in this House, because that motion was unconstitutional, null and void. The motion saying that we should, the motion Honorable Olekina Ladema moved in this House, the Senator for Narok, that motion was unconstitutional, null and void, because it failed to understand the concept of a public debt. And so,
Senator Olekina, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, sometimes when I listen to my good friend Okiya Omtata, I really wish that he went to law school and not just practice law outside and not having gone to really understand the role of Parliament. Parliament pronounces itself through motions or bills. So is the good senator in order to suggest that this Parliament will pass unconstitutional motions, or this Parliament will not pronounce itself? Then what else are we doing here? You know, sometimes it confuses me whether we know the work that we are doing in this Parliament. If we're in this Parliament, we are here to convince each other. You know, we have two sides of the aisle. So I really hope that you can find the good senator out of order, because this Parliament does not pass motions which are unconstitutional. We have a secretariat, Mr. Speaker, that advises. So in fact, it's like saying the work that the secretariat do in this Parliament, they are not competent. You can't.
Senator Olekina, you've made your point.
It's completely uncouth to actually suggest that this Parliament can pass laws which are unconstitutional or motions that
have made your point. Just a point of clarification before I give directions on it. If you followed the argument by Senator Okoiti, in the context of a motion that was moved, he indicated that he would depart, in his opinion, with the motion. So, Senator Okoiti, you may proceed with your arguments on it.
Yes, my argument is that my reading of Article 214, the one that says that a public debt shall be a first charge on the consolidated fund, goes further to clarify and define what qualifies for that public debt, not any owning. A county governor, for example, cannot go and incur a debt in a hotel and doesn't pay, and it becomes a public debt. A public debt must be a financial obligation attendant to a loan raised or guaranteed and securities issued or guaranteed by the national government. So, when we talk of pending bills, where suppliers have supplied goods and services and have not been paid, that cannot be a pending bill. That cannot be.
Proceed to raise your point of order, Senator Olekina.
Mr. Speaker, you know, let us be factual and let us try to interpret the Constitution accordingly. County governments do not get their money from the Consolidated Fund. County government gets their money from the County Revenue Fund. What Senator Okiya Omtata is referring to is on an issue of a public debt that has got to do with the Consolidated Fund. The Consolidated Fund deals with funds for the national government. The county government, all county governments accumulate pending bills by not paying money to suppliers. It's simple as that. I supply to a county government, it does not pay me. The financial, every county government, Mr. Speaker, operates on a cash basis of accounting. There's an accrual basis of accounting and a cash basis of accounting. We can give accounting 101 to be able to differentiate the two. When you go to State Department, they are operating on an accrual basis because they depend on the consolidated fund. County governments, every financial year, the money you have, you must spend of it, then what do you call it? It's a pending bill. So let us be clear, when we interpret the Constitution, let us be clear that the Constitution, if you read Article 219, 219 is clear. A county share of revenue means raised by the national government shall be transferred to the county without undue delay and without deduction, except when the transfer has been stopped under this article. When you go back to 217, Mr. Speaker, because you know this matter is very clear and we need to be clear on it. One second, Mr. Speaker. I just want to clarify something
Senator
here.
Lekina,
207.
I want to also notify you of the fact that, wait, the chair is speaking.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
I want to notify you of the fact that you've already spoken to this bill, and if you are raising an issue as regards a point of order, it is the chair to direct, and I actually was headed to direct Senator Omtata that he should confine himself in his arguments to the schedule for the financial disbursements for the financial year 2025-2026, which we're seeking to clarify by making reference to the Constitution. Senator Okio Omtata? But you do not have the floor. You are raising a point of order. You've already spoken to the matter. Please do so in under 30 seconds.
Mr. Speaker, I am not speaking twice on this matter. I am clarifying a point of misleading. You cannot mislead the public. It is clear. I raised the issue on correcting what Senator Omtata was saying. I am not speaking twice on the matter. I cannot allow such things to go on record when it is clear that the county governments get their funds from the county revenue fund. It is under Article 207 of the Constitution.
You've made your point, Senator Okia Omtata. Confine yourselves to the arguments.
Yes, I'll do so, but I think Article 206 defines what a consolidated fund is, and the county governments don't get their money from the county revenue fund. They use the county revenue fund to disperse their money. They get their money from the consolidated fund, because all money raised nationally are kept in the consolidated fund except as directed by an act of parliament to be kept in a different fund. And the county revenue fund does not receive money. The county look at Article 206. Read 206. So for me, what I was trying to say back on the motion is that we need to look at this constitution keenly. We must not allow pending bills to become something that can burden us into the future. We spend and we implement an appropriation act at the county government. An appropriation act cannot result in you having a pending bill. And there's no way you can carry a pending bill, a bill from one act to another act without the involvement of the assembly that enacted the act. So pending bills have to be cured through a supplementary budget, but not to become a first charge on the new budget, on the new Appropriations Act passed by the Assembly. So we need to look at it, and I'm saying that one of the problems we're now having with finances in the counties, even when we disburse them, is that we have got a mechanism at the county government where the governor is an imperial animal controlling both the money and executive power. We must address that to be able to get rid of things like pending bills, to get rid of the misappropriation of funds, and invest the money in the counties in the professionals. Let us have an independent county treasurer controlling the public money in the county. And at the national level, we must take the treasury away from the executive. The treasury cannot be a ministry of the national government. It must be an independent organ serving the 48 governments. It must also devolve, we must also slay the imperial presidency at the national level by separating the executive power from the power of the purse. The money must go back to Parliament. That way we shall be adding value to the debate to try and ensure that county governments are paid on time. So that when the national treasurer does not disperse money on time, we can hold him to account. You can hold his feet to the fire and say, why haven't you done this? And when money is misappropriated, when bills are not paid at the county and work has been done, we can ask the national treasurer, the county treasurer, why have you not paid this money? But when we invest money in politicians, we end up with all the problems we are having. The funds get mismanaged. Can we put a padlock on public funds so that the law, we have all the laws we require. We just have a wrong political culture. Can we get a culture whereby we give the institutions the power they're supposed to have, get the proper designs, amend, get rid of laws like Section 11 of the Public Finance Management Act, which make the Treasury basically a cash box for the president, because the president controls the minister and the PS. And so you depend on the president to have money delivered to counties. And none other than the president has said that I have ensured money has gone to the counties. A statement that should never come out of a human being's mouth. Because the law says how the money should be disbursed to counties. And so I really plead that we go that route. On the question of e-procurement, I'm a strong supporter of open governance. And digitalization of systems is one thing that will help us get proper open governance. So e-procurement should go down to counties, only that we must find a way of implementing it in such a way that it is not abused, the way e-citizen has been abused. But if we do it properly, e-procurement should enable us to get to a situation, to a position whereby we are able to see procurement going on, and as it has been rightly cited by Senator Cherargei, in e-procurement we will not be able to allow, because it is transparent and open, we will not be able to allow somebody to procure a bottle of Fanta or Coca-Cola for 1,000 shillings in the open market. So e-procurement is also something I speak to, and I support, and I plead that those opposing it should direct their energy to how do we make it successful? How do we make it succeed and serve the public and not be a bottleneck on the public? Finally, I would urge, even as we talk about these institutional reforms, nothing stops the Treasury as currently constituted, if it really has the goodwill, to go down, to bend down and be able to disperse this money as required, because there's total confusion in counties where workers are not being paid, and some workers have obligations, are exposed to bank loans and what have you, and things get very complicated. So I hope that going forward, the Treasury will see sense in obeying what the law requires, both the Constitution, in a timely disbursal of funds, and the public finance management, which gives the date of 15th of every month that the required funds should be delivered. And I pray that the 7.956 billion shillings meant for Busia will be put to proper use when His Excellency Governor Dr. Paul Nyongesa Otuoma, gets this money, it will go to what it's required. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. And with those few remarks, I support the motion.
Thank you, Senator Okoiti. In your argument, I believed you made reference to the fact that we needed to lock up, get a padlock for public funds. I tend to think the opposite would have been the case. Get the hold of the key, because we need to spend that money. And therefore, we can't padlock it. We just need to get the right person to hold the key and take care of the public resources. Lastly, I will allow Senator Consolata to make her contributions also to the schedule for financial year 2025-2026 cash disbursement for counties.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the opportunity. I also want to contribute towards the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on cash disbursement schedule. And I've observed the following, that one, if you look at the backloading of cash disbursements, definitely you realize that it curtails budget implementation at the counties. And in regard to the Constitution of Kenya, I feel that it desecrates, or rather contravenes, Article 203(1)(j) that talks about that requires revenue allocation to counties to be stable and predictable. But sometimes you find that the release of finances is gotten at the tail end of the financial years. So this will definitely hamper the service delivery at the counties. Then there will be a lot of blame shifting between various parties or between various actors at play. So to wrap it all, I have also observed that this must have stemmed from sharing formula. It builds on delayed disbursements. It also leads to pending bills and a lot of controversies at the counties. So much as we are deliberating on this fact, it is important to realize our mandate as a Senate, derived from what the Standing Committee has quoted, that is under Standing Order number 212(3), in conjunction with the PFM Act Cap 412A. So we need to look at those constitutional and legal safeguards in order to operationalize this. Because when we look at counties, devolution was actually meant for empowering the counties, bringing the services closer to the people. So when you look at this hullabaloo of late disbursements at the counties, it tends to affect a lot of progress in regard to projects. We have county CIDPs that will always highlight what is to be done at various levels. Counties will always submit their budget policy papers, the fiscal strategy papers, I think, to the Senate. And it is important for us to scrutinize that and see what is done at what level. From a project management and planning point of view, a project has a definite start and a definite end. So there are those time frames vis-a-vis the budgets that are given. So we normally follow the itemized budget to carry out activities, and that is how the counties operate. And therefore it is our duty as a Senate, or rather as a House, to maybe infuse something like a monitoring and evaluation tool to keep track of the uptake of these funds. We can also propose to have a risk management and a risk assessment tool so that we can be able also to look at these risks that might culminate out of these hitches in regard to the operationalization, or rather the implementation of the budget There is also need for us as a House, through the relevant standing committee, to maybe design a feedback loop or other mechanism to fetch information or feedback regarding the uptake of these finances and the way they have been used at the counties. So let's look at it, because it is our physical responsibility to oversee the prudent use of public finances or other resources, and also adhere to compliance or other conformity to the same. I want to finish by pointing out that all this has a circle. We have the leaders in place. We have the COB, we have the EACC, we have the Auditor General, and all inclusive. So let's harmonize the operations, and as a Senate, let's look at that, because these delays will always even bring conflicts in the counties and even amongst ourselves, in that we shall have to have that silo mentality of having negative competition where there is a mismatch in communication, and that hampers service delivery. So for the purpose of efficacy, let us follow the rules. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Let's rise. Senator Consolata, when the House resumes, you will still, sorry, okay, thank you very much. Thank you for that. Honorable Senators, it's now 6:30 p.m., time to adjourn the Senate. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until tomorrow, Thursday, 25th of September, 2025 at 2:30 p.m.